Hey, we are live. This is the Middle Finger Network. Thursday night, June 29th, 2023. There's locked right here, loaded right there. And
Middle finger.
that leaves the other one. Randy Rhodes, the genealogist to the stars, is with us, and I'm glad that he's here. And welcome back. We are live on Facebook on the Dave Willoughby profile. Will be passed around to everybody else's profiles and put us in your groups. And we're on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, which has a live chat. If you want to watch it there, do me a favor. Even if you never go and watch a Boogie with the Bull broadcast again on the YouTube channel, just do me a favor and be one of the 1,000 that I need so that they start leaving me alone and treat me better than they do. And Michael, if he's got a YouTube channel or other places he wants to tell you to be, Randy Rhodes, well, I'm sure we'll have places that he will tell you to go. Come join us in one of the live chats, like I said, on the Dave Willoughby profile, the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group, and over there on YouTube, the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And get locked and loaded. And if you're in the live chats and you want to come on to the program, we have 10 cameras available. I can't guarantee we could do 10 people at once, but we will give it a shot. So normally the way is this would go around the table and everybody would get a chance to introduce themselves. And since Michael was here first, we'll start with Michael Anthony. We'll drop down to Randy Rhodes, and then we'll just kick in and get the party started. So, Mr. Michael.
Good evening and welcome in, as Dave said, to his platform, Boogie with the Bull. We did a really nice show last night on America Rebellion with Jerry, Nick, and the guys, you, Dave, and Jen. Randy was MIA. Of course, he hasn't been feeling good. Be careful. Next time you move 6 boxes, make sure they're all empty. We have to protect ourselves. So one of the things we didn't get to talk about last night, and I don't want to blow people's minds here, but was tampons. Not a joke. I know everybody laughed. They thought I made a joke, and I did, but I made a reference point to these things now being put in boys' rooms. For what? As I once commented, for leaky bowel syndrome, and the world is fighting that. No, there are people and men out there that need them. Where else are they going to stick them if it's not where the sun don't shine? I don't know. Does anybody have an inclination of what this is about and how they are addressing this for us to try to understand it? Because look, I'm not against gayism. There's gays against transgenderism and all this clown grooming and all this. They're standing up fighting for children because they don't believe in the ethics of what we're seeing. But when you see something like this starting to participate in a school, to me, it's just like utilizing a form of propaganda to make one's mind continuously, no matter where they look, think about the rawness of the negativity of this whole explosion of bullshit that we're dealing with. I'm sorry, I didn't want to go into this like this, but tampons in the boys' room, isn't it bad enough that we're fighting all the other scenarios? Randy, what's your thoughts?
Well, a few months ago, it came out in the news that there was a shortage of tampons, that females themselves were having problems finding their own, specialty products. And everyone thought that, that was bullshit propaganda to have, women rush out and buy the product. But it was reality. The various schools, colleges, and other businesses were actually stocking the tampons in men's and boys' bathrooms because, unfortunately, the left is convincing these boys and young men that they are indeed females and that they experience a monthly period, even though there's no obviously evidence, if you don't get my drift, that they're experiencing a monthly period. So they actually go to the extent of buying fake blood, things like that, and they, smear it down below so they experience the, oh yeah, and they put on the tampons, and then they sometimes pretend to have the menstrual pains. And there are some things out there that actually they can take as a medicinal thing to actually experience the physical pain. I mean, there's actually video out there of these guys taking this damn, medicine, whatever you want to call it, this product, to actually experience the menstrual pain. I'm sorry, we are brainwashing our young men, and is a way, I believe, of Bill Gates and other organizations to help to reduce the so-called overpopulation of our planet. And I think to myself, not that I want them to come here, but when you look at the our nation, we have all this open land out in the Midwest, so forth, the open plains, the Midlands, the desert land, the grassland, all that land. And we have plenty of, land that we could actually, with common sense, build new homes, farms, businesses, and so forth to properly take care of people. Not to mention, look what Israel is doing. Israel is doing what God's word said in the Bible, bringing water out from the desert land. Imagine that.
You mean the magical river that had appeared?
Yes. Okay.
Right.
And to kill your population because you say you can't support it is bullshit. And this whole thing about, making boys believe they're girls, making men believe they're females is a way of depopulating our planet. Not to mention, oh, he's a bunny. Oh, he's a kitty cat. And there's schools now putting litter boxes in the lavatory because, they have to have those litter boxes for those who think they're kitty cats.
Thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about that nonsense.
Oh, come on.
I truly did forget about that part of the nonsense. But it's bad enough that men want to experience cramps and diarrhea and bloating. And, come on, it's a fantasy. I get where they're at, but they're trying to me, make this unit of newbies of this new normalcy of ideology a fantasy world. I think it's kind of like Meta. Discover Meta, discover your true look. It's like deep dive into the matrix of what the world truly is or stands for. And they want you to see it. Like if I was to die, I'm going to ask you all a question. Dave, so this is going to go to you first, and then it'll come back to me.
Okay.
If tomorrow would be your last day, or tonight would be your last day alive, what would you most miss about not seeing tomorrow?
My wife, my sons, my daughter-in-laws, my grandson, my mother. Hopefully, I wouldn't miss my dad as much because he's already up there.
Okay, so you'd be with him. So that would be joyous. But so, Randy, what do you think you would miss the most if your eyes were never to open up again for a new tomorrow?
So if just I died, what would I miss? Obviously, like Dave said, my family. The missed opportunities to convince other people to believe in Jesus as their savior, so that more can be with me when I die. The missed opportunity to see Trump in office. God knows that might never happen.
Right. And you guys both hit the nail on the head. And what stood out most is the part of the family value. And they don't care if they remove you from the scenario of the family. And that's what we're fighting against. So you both answered it consciously and awarely. And I hope you remember that's part of the structure of their narrative of the breakup of families in America, to go down these new paths. Because one of the ways to wake people up is sometimes bring a different type of question onto a platform. I would stretch it a little bit further, and I'll tell you, I agree with you all, and I would have the same missing of the elements of people and family and so forth. But I also would miss the fact that there were the days that reflect in my mind of sitting in a normal world, in a normal environment where I could feel the sun on my face and hear the birds and actually say to myself, why didn't I do that more? So not only do we have things that we miss that they want to take, it's important that we reflect to the things that we are missing out on because we are intaking and ingesting all this shit that they're throwing down our throats. So to me, I just wanted to share that a little bit because the narrative of the Depop and everything that they're doing, the collusion, the coup that they are, that are creating all this, are keeping us in distances apart from each other, but not together. And it's sad. It's sad. Hey, all right. So, Dave, you were talking to me earlier, too, about Pfizer and whatnot. And you
Well,
said, well, where's this
we touched on it last night. And it just...
Yeah, and I didn't get to tell you. One of the main ingredients to that soup pot in the kettle was Bill Gates even admitting that the vaccinations turned out to be a flop.
So,
but he made billions on top of billions of dollars investing in it. And now he's going to chase the Pfizer rainbow and Moderna rainbow because we now know that there are adverse effects. They're announcing them. And now Pfizer did buy a small pharmaceutical company. I think it's $6.7 billion. I believe it was $6.7 billion.
To them.
Sure. It's nothing to them. They're worth so many billions. But that's because, we know how they all got there. Follow the money. And that's how you follow the corruption in Washington. Like when people say, why did these people and how can they stay so long? Well, they're only there because they're corrupt, because they know the system's corrupt and they're waiting to make the next dime off the corrupt. And that's what they do. Nevertheless, Bill Gates was one of the ones who, like I said, threw right into the soup pot the admittance that these shots may not have been all the hype that they were. So he built on it. Any guy that takes his stock, runs and leaves, and collects his dollars, never had the people's interest. All they were doing was chasing a rainbow in the plot against America.
Okay, go ahead.
Look that. No, I'm sorry. Look that information up and go ahead.
The question that I want to kick in is kind of like the conversation that you and Randy were having a minute ago. It's the truth. They don't want males and females to have any more children or bring any more children into this world because maybe they've got IT ready to enslave us and they need to save. It's a bad thing, but they need to save resources to be able to feed us until we extinct ourselves, and they don't need us. Hey, Jen, I'm glad you came.
Hi.
Schoolie
Good to see you.
This is the old team.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are so old. And Jen might be the older one.
Broadcast. Well,
don't tell nobody.
But
hello, Jen's family.
I'm glad everybody's here.
Are they here? Okay, I don't think.
I'm just yelling.
In the
You're
live
awesome.
chat, in the live chat, we have Joseph Rapper, Mike Arnheim, who is new watching, and Jerry McCoy Balaco, who has probably watched more broadcasts than Michael and I have done together, or probably even Danny Campbell, who's watched the most Boogie with the Bull broadcast of anybody in the history of the internet.
Okay, Mr. Boogie, calm down. Let's focus here. Jen, welcome and thank you for joining us. I knew if I sent that, you might sit there and say, "Damn it, he did this to me on purpose." And
I did not. She told me she couldn't do it tonight. That's
I
why
said
we're
it
moving.
was
That's why we're moving to Tuesdays at 7:00. Okay, Jen, it's your intro time. But Tuesdays at 7:00 is when we're moving, so that Jen can be with us.
How fun. That'll be fun. Okay, what am I doing? You said hi to everyone already, right?
Oh yeah. We were actually talking a little bit more in detail about Pfizer, the navigation of these corrupt citizens, non-citizens of America that are doing all the evil things that they're doing, and the focus points of how they're taking us through these waves of interventions of narratives that have all been done. So we were covering a little bit of, and this might help if anybody new came in too, covering over a little bit more in detail about and last night the tampon thing wasn't a joke. It was about why are they putting them in the boys' rooms? You know, I mean, trying to mislead and corrupt. And again, I think I said this a few times, but I'm not sure of the specific law. But when you do things like demoralize facts of truth and all this, aren't you corrupting the mind of a minor? Isn't there a law that we used to have to live by back in the day that was something corrupting the mind of a minor, a child, something like that?
They do have contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and it is a is it a misdemeanor? I don't know, but you can, yeah, there is contributing to the delinquency, but I don't. That is, you're talking more psychological, not getting them to do bad things, just stupid things. Yeah,
Right.
no, history is repeating itself. Not so specific as to the gender thing, but in 1917, because I was talking to my dad and I said, has any country ever done this? We have shortages everywhere. We have a dingbat in the house. This was a total coup. Well, they didn't come in and take over a president. They took over a position. They rigged the whole election. We know what happened. And it's not even a scary thing to say anymore. Stolen. They stole it. They know they did. And it feels like there is nothing we can do to combat this. And I said, has this ever happened? And my father said, yeah, in 1917. And I said, oh my God, you're so old. And he's not. He was born in 49. But he was talking about Russia. He was talking about, I believe it was Lenin. All their names are Vladimir, okay? And they still are Vladimir. But the one back then was Lenin. It was Lenin. And it was, he came in and it was a disaster. There were food shortages. He thought he was safe. Everyone thought Russia will be saved, the mother country, because he overtook Nicholas II, who was really a staunch dictator. And then Lenin comes in, and then they have Stalin. Oh my God, the whole thing is bad. And they stopped using the word czar to talk about the heads of departments after they got rid of Nicholas II. But in America, Barack Obama brought it back. And I thought, is this the right country to have czars? I don't think so. That was really odd. That it's like we don't know our power. It is our government. We don't know our constitution. And it's supposed to be by we the people telling those guys, the government, what our rights are and what theirs are and where their rights stop. Don't touch us. And it's like we have to go over that again because we forgot everything.
You know, Jen,
you're absolutely right. Oh, Randy, go ahead. Apologies.
You know, Jen, you're talking about the transgender. And when you think about the whole transgender and cross-dressing, is really not that new. When you go back in history, you can go back in the medieval days and the days of Rome and so forth, even further
Roman
back.
Empire.
You had men dressing up as women, and you had even you had that. You had the men in the military. When they're putting on their plays, the prisoners of war. You had them dressing up as women. God knows. If they took it a step further than just dressing up as women. So you have that possibility. But then you have, like you mentioned about the senile old man that's occupying what used to be a glorious White House, who I said this to, Michael just a couple hours ago in a 5-minute audio message on Messenger, that our asshole, so-called President of the United States, openly on a freaking broadcast said I, meaning he, sold top
Secrets.
secret information,
Yeah.
top secret documents. And he said it twice.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last night. You're right, but go ahead, continue.
And I'm thinking to myself, holy freaking, I use other words, holy freaking shit, he just admitted to
The
selling.
treason.
And he's
Yeah.
still in the White House.
Well,
I
they
know.
covered that up as it's all been a joke.
Right. Oh, he's just an old man. He doesn't
Yeah,
know what he's
yeah,
talking
shove it
about.
under the
They
rug.
take him out of the damn White House. And then about a half hour later, I saw, oh my God, I didn't know they had his vote. They impeached him. Get his ass out of the White House. There's like 118 to 108 votes, like 11 votes more. And he got impeacched. Get his ass out.
I know, time to go.
How do
So did
Take them out, Michael. I'm sorry. Are they ever? Will there ever be a day that someone is going to show up with the silver bracelets and Joe Biden is going to do the perp walk out of the White House?
He
Yeah.
need out of his basement.
Well, we can only assume he's there with photo holographics. I mean, they could place him anywhere to make him look like he is in any space that he is. Like they used to say he wasn't at the White House. He probably wasn't at the White House when things were going on because they were using special intelligence now.
Yeah, there were always talk of green screens in the Delaware Dungeon Studios.
Right.
Always.
I wanted to bring something up to Jen real quick before I forget this.
Do I eat or do I leave my camera on while I eat my dinner?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Michael, talk to Jen. Randy, eat your dinner.
Well, we might need you, so don't go far.
Oh, no. Then you want me to turn my camera off or leave it on?
No, just hey, you know what, man? We're just glad to have everybody here. I am,
I am too.
brings
Glad
back memory.
everybody showed
So,
up.
Jen, let's go back into memory of history. And we could go into Baphomet, the transgender god, which they created some years. This isn't an early existence of something. It was added to it,
Right.
of a belief. They thought that they understood more. Solomon and Gomorrah, all these different things that tied into orchestrated sexual acts and devious acts. And so but to them, it was a commoncy, a normalcy. But then the British did something that was rather amazing. They all started wearing women's wigs. All the higher ups.
Wow.
Nobody seems to remember that
You're
they
right.
were the ones focusing on the transgenderism. And it goes deep if anybody wants to research that. And last night, Burlesque, I brought that up. That was an earlier part than even comedy and more.
Right.
So if you go into it, people were already into this.
I
They
know
were.
it's nothing new. It's just
No.
repeating.
Yes, yes.
That back to Randy. Do you want to say something?
They also wore the wigs because back in the day, they didn't have proper way of cleaning themselves. So they had head lice to the backs. So they wore the wigs to cover up all the damn bugs.
It
Frost
looks
in
so
their
much
hair.
better. Yeah.
Don't
Right.
forget that.
You know what? I don't agree. I know that there was speculations to something like that. But if you go back again, let's jump back into history. And this is where the dots always connect. We know, due to archaeological digs and more, that they had just as good of water toilets and drainage systems that we have now. As a matter of fact, they were much larger. They executed the water discharge better than what we have to now. Now we have pipes that are all clogged. I mean, but then we have some bigger pipes that get that when you get into the lower volume areas, that's going to do the dumping into the rivers. And of course, they say they never pump from the river. They pump from deep springs within the earth. Well, yeah, there's more water under the earth, but that narrative was around. If you go back 5, 6, 7, 8, no, maybe it's more than that. Oh my God, I didn't really look into this, but the thought just come into my mind. Do you remember when they were telling us you can't water your lawn, you can't wash your car, we're going to run out of water? We're never going to run out of water. Our resources.
We're sitting on it. Good.
Yes.
You're right.
We really are. We have submarines that can go from the oceans all the way into the plains up to Vegas. They don't even realize what's under there. It's not as well as who?
Some submarines.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
that was
well, all
bad.
right. If you want to bring up that controversial topic, look who was on the boat. Look what it tied into. Things that I talked about 3 years ago on the Titanic. I pulled out puzzles and everything else. Who was on the Titanic? How does it tie to these people now? They don't forget a vendetta. They do things. And look, at the right time. We have right now, what is it, over $100 billion that has been forwarded to Zelensky through Washington of our not even earned tax dollars yet, putting us into the negative 32 plus trillion dollars. This is going to take lifetimes of people to resupport if it ever gets back on track. Lost. But what they're not telling you is what they were doing military exercises for in the cities, because they're doing a preparation. Why is that preparation taking place? Because we have now surrounded the backside of Russia with other countries aiming missiles at them. They are pushing desperately for this World War III. They truly, truly are pushing. They want Putin out of the office. That's why there was a coup. That's why the Wagner event and all these other things are happening. So I want people to keep in mind, while the smoke's up in the air all over North America, and we're getting foul odors and smells and missing chemicals, maybe it is ammonia nitrate or whatever that they're saying that went missing. I believe that's what it was. But they're keeping us focused elsewhere so they can set this up and well orchestrate it. And that is my biggest fear. I always said Russia's really not against America, especially when it comes to Trumpism. Okay,
Right.
China the same way. They didn't even mind paying the tariffs. The point is that they are cooing together to create a different financial system because they want nothing to do with this one world order, and we all share that in common.
That's good.
But what do you do when you have a dick of a tater up in the Washington office who is willing to take the heat, willing to
Right.
make these comments? And again, my thought last night, Randy, to say to you this: if there is a way to make him look like Article 25, remove him before the impeachment, a lot of people walk scot-free of charges. Because if he's found guilty, we get to go after everybody else involved. If it falls under the desk, gets lost in a paper pile, due to us going to Congress and then making the final vote, giving the final say-so, how many people involved that have a lot of crimes on humanity on their shoulders right with him are going to walk? I mean, look, we can go back to the Anthony Weiner video. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so if we impeach the idiot at the stance, okay, he's gone. That brings in Kamala. But if he walks away under Article 25 because he's insane, okay, unfit for duty, can he then be charged for any crimes? Because essentially, for the last, let's say, year, he was essentially can be determined unfit for duty. So any decisions he made during that time frame, he's not really responsible for.
And before you answer, Michael, let me throw in, if, like Randy says, we use the 25th Amendment, or they use the 25th Amendment on Biden, is Kamala guilty of anything like elder abuse? Because I know that's what Randy would bring up, because elder abuse for the time that she did this. And even Nancy Pelosi, while she was Speaker of the House, because Nancy brought up before the 2020 election, she wanted the House to take a look at Article 25 to make sure what was in there, and as she said, update it. We all just assumed that she was looking to update it to be locked against President Trump. But you know, are all these people guilty? And then I'll shut up after I say all these people are guilty. Is Hillary Clinton going to have a field day and we're never going to see any of these people? let alone her. I mean, it's not like we can just say, you're all bad, leave, we're going to jumpstart the government, because that's what we're trying to do now, and none of them are leaving. And I turn the floor back to my esteemed panel of guests.
All right. Wow. All right. So presidents have certain executive powers. Some of them protect them. Didn't protect Trump, but it protected Joe even when he was vice president, filling his garage with boxes and other so-called places. I can't really prove them, but there's a lot of suggestions that that's all fact, that things are still laying around that no one's looking into. And we see the can of worms being dumped out on the table every day. The Congress, Senate's up there, and oversight committees are bringing people into question. They're basically pleading the fifth, and they won't agree to anything. They won't answer anything, and they won't even tell you they know the difference between a man or a woman, or black is white and white is not black. All we know is the transitions against America, and these people were guilty. I mean, it's evident. I think what everything happening is these people are exposing their own selves, their true colors, to the American people when they're waking them up with us now. It may not exactly look like that, but I would say that there's probably a fabric of a small percentage on that. So, getting back real quick and letting Jen, think about a comment or two, throwing some things in, which we should do. President orders and so forth, there's a declaration of them. How they would all work and what would constitute what and what cannot be done, I don't know. But I do fear the point, even though us in America would say, just get them out of the office. That is just letting them off the hook. And if we tie him in, we tie Obama in, we tie her to Benghazi, we tie a lot of other knots. And I just wanted to say that. So what do we want? Do we want the long haul, the fight? Do we want the transparency of the truth? I think Trump's going to come back as law and order one way or another. Things are going to happen, and they probably have some other scenarios that we're just unaware of. I'm sorry, Jen. Go ahead. Take your time.
Well, I wanted to bring up Bill Clinton only because when he was impeached, he stayed right where he was, cocky son of a gun. Now, when Richard Nixon was impeached, he had integrity and he stepped down. So I kind of think that Biden getting impeached is all it means is be put on trial. It doesn't mean kick him out of the White House. So he's probably going to be just as cocky like Bill Clinton. So that's probably what he's doing. He probably was impeached. It doesn't mean we're not going to see the trial. We're not going to see them put him in trial. We never saw Bill Clinton. I mean, we know exactly what's going on. This is ridiculous. However, the one thing we have going for us in this situation is that he has the big holdup for the impeachment, which is just putting him on trial. Right now, we need the Senate. It's all in Congress. The House is all about impeach him. This is what he did. And the Senate, we just have to get more of the GOP, the Republican, which I can't stand. That is like as old as the Tories and Whigs, the grand old party. I wish they would just call themselves the RNC. But anyhow, we're counting on them in Senate, and I think it will come through. At the same time, I think it's going to happen definitely because there are lawyers they have plenty of fodder to run this case. I mean, I don't know if Trump still has Sidney Powell. I think he has one. Does he still have her? Well, because
there's talk that there's contact.
Oh, that's good. This web is so big. I can understand now why he couldn't just kill this. Like run all these tribunals and take your place. You were cheated. You can't. The corruption is so deep and it's on every level in the government. It's not just the guy we've seen these failed leaders in their other positions are now heads. They have Jenny Granholm, as she was like one of the worst governors we had in Michigan, and now she's in charge of energy or something. And I'm like, you bring back the czar name, you might as well, because it's ridiculous. It's just that fake. They're not Russian and they're not leaders. And they're stupid. They're failed whatever's in their position. We've got Pete Buttigieg. He couldn't even go to East Palestine to see the crisis because he was
Right.
nursing his baby. Really? The one he adopted, of course, but it's horrible on every level. You can see something like you brought up. They don't know their gender, they don't know their color. It's stupid, and we are trying to be dumbed down by this and act like, oh, that's okay, they just don't understand. No, what really? I mean, that's stupid. We get paid more flipping hamburgers knowing all the right answers about what these people can't answer in Congress. And there's more of us than them making
Right.
our, now it's what, $15 an hour? That's awesome. Ridiculous.
But what did
Worth
that really help?
nothing.
Jen, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm trying to
No,
make
go ahead.
conversation with you. What does that $15 an hour? What did it really do for the poverty-stricken people that got it? What did it do? Let Jen answer, and Dave will go right to you. I'm not trying to run the show, but I think it's important what you brought up there, because I'm in dismay over it, because all they did was put it in place to collect more from the worker through tax revenues and through the cost of living. So what did it do? It did nothing for the worker, did it? Or did I misunderstand the whole concept of what happened?
It made a gallon of milk $7.
There
It
you
was
go. I love you. I love you.
Right.
Thank
But
you.
it-
You're right. And
it
what did
was-
it make eggs for a while? It's almost $6 a carton, $6.99.
But it
Right.
made that gallon of milk $7.50 because Bernie Sanders doesn't want you to understand while he's running around saying everybody needs a living wage. Excuse my English, Jen. Use bad words. Minimum wage is the biggest bullshit scam that to a worker
I know.
will ever hear, because the IRS needs to. The only purpose of the IRS is to predict the taxable income that the federal government is going to have. So Bernie Sanders comes along when minimum wage is $7.50 and says, you guys need $15 an hour to have a livable wage. So he gets it for him. Your paycheck goes up from $7.50 to $15. You've been paying $3.75 an hour taxes off of that $7.50. Now you're paying $7.50 an hour in taxes. The government is getting $7.50 more, and most people don't understand this. And I know Michael can put it into a little bit better words, but basically, to me, that's what it is. Which is why
Not always.
but now when he and others are pushing $11.50 for that McDonald's worker. The only difference is, if you guys would look at it, is people that are getting that would see you're still paying this. Look at your paycheck stub. You're still paying. Now you're paying double the amount of taxes that you were paying before, and you're getting $11.50.
Right.
And when you make more, you're taxed higher too, right? Because it's just like when you do IRS. I found something out that blew my mind. And Dave's right. You're right. I think I'm right. We're all right.
Right, we
The
are.
point
We're all
though here, this is mind blowing. This part of it, when it comes to you filing your federal tax income. Now, say you buy a house and you do want to flip it. You're putting your hard-earned money in. You're basically your own contractor. You're subbing out a lot of work. That's a plus. The minute you say to yourself, well, I'm going to save $20,000. I'll put the roof on myself. It's only going to cost me $3,500 for the materials. You are taxed higher on the money when it comes back, because you can't even write off what you saved. In labor.
My gosh.
In labor, you cannot
Wow.
utilize that because nobody took revenue from it. Nobody took a paycheck from it. So on every avenue, if you don't know what you're doing, you got to get great accountants because then you have to actually start paying yourself a check from your own money in order to do it, which again, they get taxed money from, because now you've got to do what, a 1020 or, as a self-employed worker.
Right.
So you're paying,
right.
you're doubling down there as well as in other places. Randy, what's up? You look like you're frustrated.
I was just going through the feed here, trying to find some stuff to talk about. It. God, I can't see what I just saw. I just saw a black woman doing a giggy in a restaurant in front of kids.
I'm not sure what that meant.
You don't want that. What do we? I'm sorry. You know what is it? And this is not to be a racist comment, but I have yet to see a obese black woman doing the butt ass cheek thing in public in front of children. Okay. And like I said, I was just going through the Twitter feed, trying to find something worthwhile to talk about. And here's this obese black woman in a fast food restaurant, bent over, skirt up, doing the ass thing in front of these children. Okay. Where the hell is the management? Where are adults running over there and kicking her butt out the freaking door?
Yeah.
You know, they're too afraid to get involved because of all the other videos I've seen where they just tear the place to shreds.
Well, we're in that part of forced compliance, and they're attacking. And Klaus Schwab said, even come out and said, we will start utilizing force. And I think that was one of the tools and methods they were going to use. Here's something else that blew my mind. And we'll let Jerry come in, say hello to everybody, let him know about his show, and he can share his website out and so forth. And thanks for having me on last night. Dave, you also for being there. And Jen, so listen, just like what he said, this is really important, though. A black young lady is in a restaurant, doesn't first realize that there is a white couple with a service dog for PTSD. And she freaks out about an animal being in and how it's compromising the cleanliness. And she blew up. I should have saved this and put it up. I didn't really do it. Today I was doing HT and some of the very graphic procedures. And I sent Randy, I think, Randy, you might have been one of the only ones I sent that video of. And it's horrific. It's really graphic beyond graphic. And it's factual. I have about 50 of them. But I thought I'd share this one because as bad as it was, it's still probably one of the worst people would ever imagine to see. And it's everything that you could imagine, where they're just cut apart right in front of you on tables en masse, removing everything. But again, let me get away from that and go back to this young lady. She put on such the management didn't know what to do. How do you handle these people now when the laws are protecting them? Behind, you touch them, you go to jail. You say something to them, it's all about he, she, they said it, and bow wow, kitty cat, and tampons. I mean, sparkles and Lucky Charms. I mean, we are just trapped within that scenario. And if you're a company that won't go along with this, that's why now even on hockey sticks they're putting rainbows on the bottom of the stick. I mean, they are infiltrating everything. You don't go with the narrative, you'll be put out of the narrative. So I just wanted to share that because of what he said, what's going on and what we're seeing. And I know we covered some last night, tonight, a few different things. But Jerry, how are you, brother?
Doing good. How are you? Good to see everybody.
Yeah. Listen, you sound laid back tonight, bro.
Well, this isn't my show, so I try to be polite and, I fake being normal and stuff, and hopefully I'll be able to pull that off. I don't know, but
you know what? Like you told Dave last night, do it for you, just for you.
You are welcome to treat me however I may ever treat you on your show. You are more than welcome to double that and treat me, Jerry. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
No, that's not the point. I when I go on other people's show, I don't talk the same way because many times they don't. On my show, I'll say what I want, and because I believe in this, it's not mine. That's all it is. It's believe me. You want an opinion, I'll be happy to give you one, but
right.
There'll be no yelling or cursing. Well, maybe the cursing. I don't know. I usually make it 15, 20 seconds before that starts, but I'll try. I'll try hard. Anyway,
well, you know what?
There's I came in on $15 an hour.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, talk about that.
I came in on $15 an hour, and the one thing nobody seemed to mention, at least after I got on here, was we got a McDonald's in Gainesville. It's about 50 miles from here, and when we have to go to Gainesville once in a while, we'll stop there. They have two what do they call them, kiosks or something in there to take your order. So it also means $15 an hour. There's 2 less people they have to pay, and there's 2 more people out of work. And
Sure.
so that's what 15, and they still get your order wrong, even with the kiosk. So it doesn't, there's like really no change other than, and of course, yeah, they get to tax you at a higher bracket and all that. That's absolutely true. As far as we have a culture problem in this country, and the only ones who can fix it are those in the culture. And unfortunately, they're waiting around for the government to do it, and the government's not doing it. And what Randy brought up is absolutely true. It's number one, disgusting. That's not behavior for outside your house ever, at least the way we probably grew up. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I tried all that garbage when I was a kid, my mother and father would have buried me under the table and then ate a nice dinner and enjoyed themselves without a lot of problem.
Yeah, I agree. I
These
lived that
people
same
are-
life. I'd have been like laying on my ass 6 feet back. Maybe not 6 feet down, but 6 feet back.
Yeah.
I mean, you know
they
what?
play that game. And these are not
blame
kids, a lot of them. A lot of them are adults. A lot of these people are adults doing this.
So do we blame the last 2 generations on children having children and parents just being lost in parenting and the one above? I mean, it seems like that is part of the
It is. My generation, I'm a boomer apparently. I just found out the other day, and I'm thinking of buying a cane or something. I don't know. But I remember one day when we were at the bus stop, school bus. I was in high school, and this girl, she was so burned out, it was ridiculous. I mean, literally, just completely burned out. But she said, "I'm never raising my kids the way my parents raised me." Okay, which was, and it's not like she had any harder a childhood like I did. It's just that her parents didn't like her walking around smoking dope all the time, because she literally sounded like a dope fiend. Okay.
right.
And stuff like that. They wouldn't let her do that. So, and you know what the problem is that they did. They came up with the timeouts. They came up with, their children. You should treat them like they're adults and talk to them in an adult manner, and make them your best friend instead of being their partner, because they will tell you more. Well, I've met many women since then that have kids that they do exactly that, and the kid is lying it through his teeth every single time to his mother, because his mother will believe him. And then they're going out and they're pulling garbage and trash, all kinds of stuff going on. And we sit here, and I'm sitting here looking at this like he's lying or she's lying. I mean, I've dated women where I'm looking at them all, I'm like, they're lying to you, and you know it. What are you doing? They're lying to you. No, they're not.
Yeah.
We're very good friends, and she never lies to me, right up until the kid does pull one particular thing or another that is actually serious, and you get a knock on the door from the cops or somebody, and then all of a sudden the mother is shocked and about to swoon, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, come on. I don't.
If anyone, if anyone wants to see the change in generations, do what my wife and I are doing right now. She and I are watching, since TV is absolutely disgusting. Okay, and the commercials are just as bad. We're actually, we're watching the Adam 12 series from season 1. We're at season 5 now, towards the end of season 5. And unfortunately, season 5, some of the commercials are now starting to show they're somehow the network's pushing into more modern commercials to show how to become a transgender and embrace your queer life. But you can see in the series itself how from season 1 how the children are being raised, okay, to be polite, to honor the family, and so forth. And each season, you see a little bit, you start seeing the changes, okay. So in season 5 now, you're seeing, you're seeing the beads, the peace signs, the vans, the disrespect towards the police, you're a pig, things like that. You're seeing the marijuana, the
That
drugs.
was our grandparents.
So we're at
Maybe not everybody's, but that was the era.
Yeah,
So
we're in our 72s now, but you're starting to see the changes, and now we have so
Yeah. Can I comment on that? I
agree.
think I'm not blaming anything. I'm just saying it's cause and effect. And the television is the biggest influence on the children. And the shows when I grew up were family shows. There
Yeah.
are none of those. If they are, they're so rare. I mean, it was like we would sit down to our cheap dinners. We'd always have I don't even want to talk about that, but we'd have TV tables and we'd be watching
Yeah.
television, and it was like the first there was, oh come on, Mallory and Family Ties with
Family Ties.
yeah, it was Family Ties, and then there was another one with Alan Thicke. I think that one, Growing Pains. They were just family shows. They're even black family shows, and those were funny too. Which is what we did. It's what the kids. That's what we watched. That was our influence. And now, what are they influenced by? What is there anything on television? There's not even good night shows. I mean, well, Greg Gutfeld, he's like the number one. It's a funny show, but he's the number one comedy act at night. There's no more Jay Leno. There's no Johnny Carson. There's nothing.
Blue
There's
Bloods
no.
is good. Blue Bloods. That's still good. It supports the police. It's still family oriented. That they have their Sunday meal together as a family. They still pray to God and so forth. So that's still a very good show.
Blue what?
Blue
Well,
Bloods.
we,
is
uh,
all
Oh, boy,
right.
I was
I'm
a
selling.
A police show.
I agree with Jen. I do agree with Jen.
Yeah.
The TVs, the computers, the every 12-year-old with a cell phone, that kind of thing. I get that. I do. But isn't that up to the parents to control that at all times?
Exactly.
I mean, it is
Exactly.
the parents that are at fault here.
I mean, Jerry, did you see?
Now, as far as TV shows, I can tell you this. I dated a girl when I was in my late 20s, okay? And she had 2 daughters. And one night, the one kid, they used to watch that Zip Code show with the kids, like the young adult people.
90210.
Soap opera.
I know what you want to.
Okay, so anyway, this little girl's like, and she's like 8, so I'm watching this show because she begged me to watch this show with her. The last thing on this planet I wanted to do was watch this show, but
Jeez.
I did because apparently I'm just an idiot. But anyway, by the time I was done watching this show, I was so pissed off that she was watching this show because this was a show about a girl who tried to kill a guy. They both met in a parking lot and then had sex on the top of a hood of a car afterwards. And this is an 8-year-old watching this. And this was back in the early 90s. Okay. And then she wanted me to watch with her Beavis and Butthead. Now, I'm a Bugs Bunny guy and, Yosemite Sam and so forth. And I watched one Beavis and Butthead show, and her mother was in the kitchen, and I was about halfway through, and I looked at her, and they were talking about doing arson fires in this show. I'll never forget this. And I'm looking at her mother like, are you kidding me with this? Yeah, the TV shows have gotten more, everything's reality now, or the cartoons are like this and that and the other. We were growing up, everything was different. We had superheroes. Not the idiots on the big screen. I'm talking about the cartoons, and we had Bugs Bunny, and we did have family shows that were comedies or whatever. I grew up on like Hogan's Heroes and Gilligan's Island and all that.
Don't leave out McHale.
And even Adam 12. I loved Adam 12. I loved it. Adam 12, McHale's Navy,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
The one with Just the Facts, ma'am. I love that show too. I
Dragnet.
actually have a box set
Dragnet,
somewhere in this
Murder
house.
Sheet.
Dragnet. Jack Webb. Jack Webb.
And
Jack Webb
shows
was
all
the
works.
god of those shows.
In the end, it is the parents' responsibility. If you have an 8-year-old watching these adult soap operas, or they should be adult soap operas, okay? No 8-year-old should be watching anybody having sex on a hood of a car. I don't care if it's heterosexual or gay. I don't give a damn. They should not be watching this. And that is and you got smart TVs. You can block all kinds of stuff. But parents don't bother. And then they wonder why their 13-year-old daughter is pregnant.
Yeah. Well, it's not
It
Leave
is
It to Beaver
always
time
the parent.
anymore either.
Right.
No, it's
not.
not.
And I'm not saying that to be rude,
I'll
but
be
I
right
mean,
back.
we did have a breakup of mismanagement, even though they were making it look like they were putting EPA higher standards in place for cleaner air. They were monitoring and finding and suspending for using the F-bomb. But yet, as Jerry said, if there was anything that reflected a sexual type of act, as long as clothes were on, it didn't matter how close they got, that was fine. So, there was problems within the systems. They gravitated from that and just fell apart. And it was because why? We had a corrupt left and right. We had Republican presidents. We had Democrat presidents. They all led us into turmoil. Here we are. And, the world is not the same. Every generation, and I will agree with people, you guys as well, more so than anything that I'm trying to direct this to. Your points, the way I see them, are great. But again, we can't remove the element of what they did. And that's the saddest part.
Well, the TV
The
rating
correct
system,
wrongs.
the TV rating systems went this way, and I'm pretty sure you will agree with me, is that they had these rating systems in place to determine the level of what children to adults should be watching. And over the years, they started letting a little, a bad word in here, a little bit of, touchy here, touchy there. And then they start bringing it in earlier in the day. And as long as the complaints weren't getting too bad, okay, so we got away with that. Let's do a little bit more here, a little bit more there. And as the years went over, they realized, hey, they don't care. And it just went that way. And next thing you know, you got sex at 7 o'clock in the evening, prime time for the kids. You got all this language going on. And all of a sudden, it just blew up. And they said, nobody cares anymore. Sidetracking to different things. France is blowing up.
Yeah.
And you got the Muslims who are on video with the news saying we're going to rape your women, rape your daughters. We're burning your cities. We're breaking into your homes. We're going to live in your homes. We're going to take over your country, and it's going to be ours. And next thing you know, we're going to go over to England, do the exact same thing there. You got the French government going after the French citizens because they're pissed off because of their living conditions. They have 40,000 police officers going after the damn French citizens when they should be going after the Muslims as well. My personal opinion is this: back up the police officers with your own damn military. Take care of the dissidents, get the damn Muslims under control, kick them out of the country if you have to, but you're about to lose your nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going through some of the same things as well as other countries. I'm just going to say that. Again, when I came up with America in Crisis, I think it's now the globe is in crisis.
Yeah.
It's always been a global problem, the pandemic and COVID and everything else. So maybe I need to navigate my wording a little bit now because, I mean, it truly is. And here we all are. Look, there's a good side of us out here. We all agree with a lot of the things we talk about. All we can do is hope that the rest of the world catches on to what's going on and somehow do something. that is gonna, change the focus.
See?
Will America become stronger with Trump in the office? Yes. It will unify America. Will the down trickle of what I guess you could say what was once that we had gonna still have the same effects to help cure the other countries that have fell to the wrath of these people? The United States, basically, the villains of every country who go in, take them over, occupy them, and that's what they do. And that's how they have so much control under this global network. And that's why right now Russia is being surrounded by other countries with the United States provoking. And,
I just want to say this thing. I get off, but the focus, these past 2 years has been, Russia, Ukraine, and China. You don't really see too much about North Korea, South Korea, and so forth. And the eye of the ball has been off of the Muslims and what's been going on in France and England. For years I've been saying how, in England, and I spent 3 years in England when my dad was stationed there, and it's a beautiful country. But now the English citizens who live there, who are the naturalized, the original citizens of that country, they can't move around their own damn country without being terrorized by the Muslims. So they have more or less, they're taking, they are fighting back for all those years of the holy wars. And what the Europeans did to them, they're now finally getting back their anger. And they're, I have to say, they're probably a quarter or halfway, in control of those two nations. So we've lost track of what's going on there. And I think that we as a nation, the United States, Canada, Australia, France, and England, instead of being concerned about Russia, China, and Ukraine, should start thinking about World War III in their own damn nation, to take back control away from the Muslims and the illegals. Otherwise, they themselves and ourselves won't be a nation because we've lost it to them. Don't worry about the Russians and Chinese. We just had no damn Chinese balloon go across our nation.
Yeah. Well, you never know who's behind those project. That goes with Project Mogul. Look up Project Mogul. That might help you get some focus as to what the narrative of what our military does. But what I want to bring up that I didn't.
One more thing. There was
There's always one more thing.
Sorry, I'm on some really. Last Friday, I moved 6 boxes from upstairs bedroom down to my garage. And
I know 6 empty boxes.
And I'm
I
on
wish
some
they were.
very strong opiates for the pain because of my sciatic nerve. So my brain's working a little slower. But did you guys see the video of Trump walking somewhere outside, and there was a guy in a suit, along with the Secret Service, obviously his own personal guard, carrying what looked like this suitcase, and there's some a picture-in-a-picture kind of video of Secret Service when he was president, and they matched it up to the suitcase that's supposed to be the nuclear football. They're trying to say that this guy is carrying a nuclear football with Trump. Now, is that even possible with him not being president?
I don't
No.
No. But while he was president, there is a guy who goes around with the president, no matter where the president goes, with a suitcase handcuffed to his arm, and you never see him unless you watch them all get on like Air Force One or something. You'll see a guy, but otherwise, the only one usually seeing getting on is the president. Yeah. While he's not president, no.
Yeah. And there is
no freaking way that happened. There is no way that happened. No.
Yeah.
I'm
He
like,
may
now
have
they're
some
gonna blame.
papers like
Yeah.
naked pictures.
They're gonna.
He may have naked
Biden,
pictures of Mitch McConnell that he wants to put out, but maybe he's carrying them. I don't know, but
Yeah.
otherwise,
Yeah,
he
Biden
ain't carrying
probably-
no nuclear secrets.
Biden probably thinks it's a suitcase full of ice cream.
All right, let me go
Yeah,
back to where I was going because this may be really important.
Must have jammed his
yeah,
first
hang on.
on his neck about what we're talking about right now.
Oh, okay. So no, I think this is really important. Everyone knows what was left behind and U.S. military goods, correct?
In
In
Afghanistan.
How
Afghanistan.
many?
Oh, in
Yeah,
There were $100 billion worth of equipment got left behind.
right.
In whose control?
The towel heads. Well, excuse me, Taliban.
Taliban and Muslims, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And they diversified it. And now they're
More
going
like
over
China.
to the other side.
More like,
Okay? They're infiltrating a
more
country.
like China.
Okay. I know there were speculations about selling the
Did
like an
anybody come to
auction going
Ukraine?
on about
No.
certain secrets
They
and
had
equipment.
already. They didn't even have to sell it. All they had to do was look at the technology, send people over there to look at it. They were already in bed with the Taliban by the time the Taliban took over Afghanistan.
Right, right. Well, I
I'll
want you
guarantee
guys to see if you can follow a paper trail to where it's being placed. This was all pre-planned, and Ukraine's nothing. It's a pawn. I've always said that, and I know everyone at the beginning. I think Jen and Dave was on a show with me where I said keep them out of it. They're just there, and Russia wasn't really our enemy. Russia has actually come to our defense in many ways
Right.
with his extending opinion and thought, and basically, being a one who was exposing them with certain questions like who shot Ashley Babbitt and more. He's come out with a lot of very stiff comments to basically, I think, hold Washington in some type of place. But the saddest part about everything is not all that was left behind. It's being made usable, but they're secretively transporting it now all around Russia, and they're aiming missiles. They really want this war to break out. These drills that they were doing, and a lot of our states and whatnot throughout America, were because it's probably going to be a necessity for our military to be able to correlate and respond because they're going to create a forced war. I'm sure Russia's going to retaliate in some way under the pressures. But the finance that they received from the United States, call it good or bad, whatever, it's still money. It got there. It's being dispersed for whatever purposes they deem necessary after they get all their cuts, like all money that goes anywhere with laundering and corruption in politics. But when you have that, an immensity of weaponry also being placed, it's going to put Russia in a very tight bind. And Putin, I know from everything that I've been able to research and his conduct up to this point, it's not about harming we the people, but he's going to have no choice to start hitting buttons.
Jerry, I know I said I was going to leave again, but Jerry, you're the guy with a military background here, and I'm going to ask you this question. You can answer if you want, and I definitely got to jump off. And I've been trying to get video of the military, what's going on in Ukraine, and my daughter thinks I'm getting it from bad sites, but I saw this video, the Ukrainians going into this field, which was supposedly just saturated with landmines. Okay, now my knowledge of combat comes from TV. Okay, but if I'm not mistaken, you're going into a field that could be laden with mines from World War II, technology at least. Don't you normally have a way of going out there with landmine detectors in front of your infantry, in front of your armored vehicles? You're out there, you're looking for landmines. Oh, there's one. You dig it up, blah, blah. But what the video I saw was you had the Ukrainians had their men out there just walking, And then you had there was the armored vehicles. All of a sudden, they're in this damn field, blowing the fuck up. And before it's all said and done,
Well,
And don't
It-
forget
yeah.
how much they leave behind on that.
back when I was in, well, they did it. They back in World War II, they had tanks. They have tanks that have this big brush. They used
Right.
to back, I think,
Yeah.
in World War II. And it would swing back and forth in front of the tank, and it would blow stuff up if there was stuff
Right.
there.
Right.
It takes
Right.
literally your body weight stepping off a landmine to blow up.
And
You
see-
can step on a landmine. You can't
Yeah.
that's
step
what
off it
happened
very well.
because
So,
they showed this.
what-
They showed this guy. They
if
showed this.
You
this
had a
armored-
field, yeah, but if you have a field like that and you're walking up on it, you don't have equipment, you don't have a metal detector, you don't. Either you avoid it because it's an obvious place for a minefield, number one, or number two, you get one guy and he goes out there with his K-bar or his bayonet and he starts digging in the ground until he hits metal. And then everybody follows. Then the next guy will follow him standing up. And then they'll keep going and keep going and keep going until they get to the other side of the field. And then the rest of the people just walk in the same footprints all the way across the field. Just walking into a field, especially a group, you never send a group into a field because you got to send one or two guys, number one, for an ambush on the other side or something. Okay, I mean, if you see an empty field, you have to think, well, it might be mined. It's not. They're not going to mark it, so you have to think that. So you try your best to avoid it. If it's impossible to avoid because you are on a time limit, then that's how you have to do it. You don't just walk out there and just get blown up. And this goes to training. I mean, you know, all that money going to the Ukraine, I suspect ain't going to training because, and I got to tell you, I don't think a lot of it's going to training with the Russians either because it seems like Russia should have ended this war in 6 months if it actually wanted to, and it ain't. And I don't know why. I'm not privy to any of that information. I just know that there's a shitload of American money going over there that we're involved in a war by attrition or by financially involved. And it's not going to end. And a lot of people are going to die stupidly like that, like he just said, because if you get literally you step on a mine, sometimes I got to tell you, the enemy's good. They're better than you. But most of the time, anyone who steps on any kind of mine or booby trap, okay, is not paying attention.
Yeah, and
For
the other
whatever
thing is
reason, they're not paying attention.
and then when this happened, the video continued, and this armored vehicle came up, and then opened up for them to come out and try and get to the injured soldiers. And this poor guy jumps out right on a landmine, trying to rescue this poor guy. And one last thing I lied. One last, and I like this comment to get information from other people. The hotel in Ukraine that was hit by a Russian missile that supposedly only had European journalists, okay? And the world blew up. Oh my God, the Russians killed all these innocent civilians. And now they're supposedly at the bottom of the rubbish are all these high-ranking Ukrainian soldiers. And supposedly there's evidence of members of the 101st U.S. Airborne were in there as well. Do you know anything about that?
I know that there was a hit, but I think it was an inside hit. I'm only going to tell you because of how and what's being shared. I know prior to that, things that weren't reported on, like in the biolabs, they were also bunkers, and they were some of the higher up from Ukraine and some of the other countries, as well as some of our top brass. They have never made a release, a confirmation to it that blew it up, except for the fact that it was hit and there was casualties, and they were from all over, but they weren't specific to it. Now, I don't know. You guys know Bill Muckler, right? Of course you do. Now, I had Bill on, and I really deep dove with him. And since then, I had a couple other contacts because of him. And I got to tell you, when it comes to coup and comes all this stuff, and he's higher up than what people think. Bill was actually really involved with
Yep.
4 and 5 star generals, admirals. They all congregate, they all talk. We're in a very bad place.
Yeah.
We're in a very bad place. And just like you said, Jerry, this is all going to have to somehow work out in some way, some fashion. It's that deep. And a lot of people innocent people are going to die from it. Now, as far as sophistication and equipment, talking about these landmines, there was other ways to do it. And that was poor judgment on whoever was in charge of that platoon that was out there doing that job. In war, people are going to die, but safety must come first. That place should have been examined thoroughly, and they should have created a flag site trail for people to go after people to rescue them. You're going to lose some, but you can retrieve the body. That's just as important, and that's what respect is. That was a bad call on leadership, and somebody needs pulled in front of the general and have a serious talk about how he was trained.
Okay, so here's my last word.
Okay.
If at the end of this whole thing, if it turns out that the leadership, if you want to call it that, and what used to be our White House did this whole damn thing to cover up our biolabs, which created the COVID, and the millions by millions of dollars going to the Biden family, if this war was created for that, then God, they should go to prison or just be hung, because millions and millions of innocent people died because of their crime.
Yep.
Well,
Agreed.
All right, Randy, always a pleasure to have you here. Before you go, I want to allow you enough time to do the plug because it's very important. So take 30 seconds, do the plug, and then
15 minutes gets you 5 to 6 generations of your family history. Don't let history go by. Remember, if you don't learn it, you're going to repeat it. All roads lead to home genealogy. Have fun.
all right,
Brother. All right. Jen,
Randy.
let's
Rose,
rescue Jen and Dave for a while here. Give them a moment into the light.
I'm very happy doing what I usually do. I'm trying to share it everywhere. So I mean, I got it here, and I'm going.
As long as one ear hears us.
Right. I
Go
wanted
ahead.
I wanted to bring up that sodium nitrate. How much is that? 26,000 pounds?
You know what? I can't confirm. I heard 60,000. That's what I mean.
86,000.
Disinformation is disinformation.
Yeah. I thought when we were on with Jerry on the American Rebellion, I thought you had said 86,000, and then we compared it to the
I did
Like, I
say
think
86,000.
2,600 that Timothy McVeigh had put.
He only did 2,000.
Yeah.
2,000 pounds.
Right,
That's all he did at Oklahoma.
right.
And
But I
it
thought
was
you had said 86,000 is what's missing in that train.
in that train car. Yeah, and I'm really concerned about that because if they distribute that into various cities and Dingbat Puddin' Brains gives the coordinates to where all these little spots of sodium nitrate are planted, whoever has missiles aimed at us can, if he sells those coordinates where the chemical is hidden in various 86,000 different spots around America, then somebody can create 86,000 different little nuclear explosions. That's terrible.
And he does sell our secrets.
He does. Even his son told everybody on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
The whole thing is.
Go ahead, Bill.
Go
ahead, Jerry.
Has anyone wondered why the Muslims have been so quiet?
Yeah, a lot of times I think about what their position is because we create the militaries for them. We fund them. We give them their equipment.
They're plotting.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the ones in this country. I'm talking about the ones in this country. We haven't had
Sleeper
a terrorist
cells.
attack in a long time.
Right.
Yeah, and so my question is this, and it kind of goes to what Jen is saying, is this, how do we know it's not them? Because they're good at this behind the scenes stuff. They are,
Wow.
whether you like hearing it or
Sneaky.
not. They're just as good as anything we have. And what as corrupt as our government is, who knows where this stuff is? Who else is going to steal this? I mean, if the government wants, no matter how much it is, they'll buy it. Why would they buy? They'll lie about why they bought it. But if somebody
Right.
actually stole this stuff, who is it? And it could be China, it could be Russia, it could be the Muslims. They want,
Wow.
I mean, it's hard to top 9/11, and the things that they've done since have been small potatoes. And I really believe this country needs to be woke up, but not that way. But can they do something bigger? I don't
They need
know.
to
And I
need
have
to
no.
wake
I'm not
up.
saying this to telling you any facts or anything else. I'm just saying my worry has been for a while. The Muslims in this country, the radicalized ones, the sleeper cells, the ones that are supposedly training all over the place. I don't know. But what the hell have they been doing?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Well, I can't answer that. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I can try to look into it, but I want to throw a question back to you. Do you remember the uranium deal that Hillary Clinton did with Russia?
Yeah, sold her controlling interest in Uranium One.
There you go. There
Sorry,
you go. I mean, what do we worry? What do we worry about more than one or the other? They're both dangerous. They're both deadly. We're in bad places, and it's all on the participation of the structure of what we have had, the regime that we have, and the one that's still in place. We can't trust them. Can't trust them as far as you can throw a stick. Hey, I want to bring up something to Jen because I know you're fond of supporting mothers and homeschooling and fathers who stay-at-home dads. They're rock stars. They're both sides that do that because it takes a couple to make a child, not two men. But nevertheless, did you hear in New York City, they are forcibly putting law in place where you cannot now remove your child from the school systems? Otherwise, it's a violation if you were to pull them out to homeschool them.
Oh my God. And we have
Yeah.
to be, no, they're protected by the Constitution. There is this really sneaky in the Bill of Rights. It's 9. Nobody knows what it's for. It just says, and other rights for the American people. And we're like, okay. So we took it. The homeschoolers were like, we have the right to teach our own children. And the gays used that same amendment to say, we have the right to be gay. So if you get a good lawyer who can fight for you and say, oh, no, they're protected by the Constitution, they can. I mean, they're grandfathered. We are allowed to do this in every state. It's ridiculous. And it's that one amendment that we use. But no, I didn't know they were doing that in New York. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I wanted to share that with you last night, but it just didn't come up. But I wanted to say it so maybe you'll have time to just peek and browse around through some of that system shit that's going on. But again, it all comes down to control the children. And we are here. We are queer. We are coming for your children. We have states out there, of course, that and governors and mayors on the good side who are willing to, press charges against these people if they continue, as well as teachers. What we do need is more involvement from the parents to focus with their children to trap these people because they are subject to arrest the minute they influence anything like that into a child. So we have to keep things like that in mind. And that's where they came up when I was looking. And I wanted to share it with you. Outside of that, Jerry, I fooled around and fell in love. That's my next request for your next do in Gainesville Green.
Elvin, what was that? Elvin Bishop?
I like dreaming, because I mean, in this day and age,
I like dreaming. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's your
Hopefully
era,
it makes a few people smile. I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That
I
was
don't know what makes you do it.
You know what that was? All that stuff, a lot of the stuff I do is bubblegum music that all these hardcore rock and rollers hated back in the 70s, but knew every damn word to every song. See, and
Yeah.
you just
all
throw
did.
that in their face every once in a while, because
We all did. We're
yeah.
all
So
guilty.
that's
I sang them.
hopefully somebody gets a smile out of it.
They make I
I enjoy it.
You
I
know what?
like
The
I
reason
sing.
I'm
If I could
requesting
sing,
I
I would sing out loud, but it's easier for me to just not. So there you go.
Millie Vanilli.
Well,
Hey.
you brought up dating a lot
Yeah,
of
pretty
women
much,
at
yeah.
times and, having your fair share. And thank goodness for that. I just thought I fooled around and fell in love because of what?
Yeah.
The guy got like through what? Must have been through about 1 million chicks. So I thought that would fit you. And I'm going to wait to see the
about 1 million girls. I'd love a man, I'd leave him alone. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. That's like 76, 77, something like that. That was like a hit song on
It was a big hit.
I think it
a
was
really
Elvin
big
Bishop sang that. Yeah.
hit. Yeah,
Mhm.
or Christopher Cross.
That
I
was
mean, it was
back
one
when
of
we
them.
had singer-songwriters. We had singer-songwriters back then. We had the storytellers. We had, all these guys had a lot of talent. And then all of a sudden that went away, sadly. Like, look at Chris Christopherson. That guy really couldn't sing, but he was very, very talented writing songs. He wrote more songs for more people. You would be amazed the amount of songs that have been on the charts that Chris Christopherson actually wrote.
Right.
And he sang quite a few too. And he was, people liked him. He was one of them guys.
No, you're right. There's a
and
lot
Jim
of bands out
Croce
there.
and guys like that.
The one of my favorites is the Edmund Fitzgerald, the Gordon Lightfoot song that you did. I mean, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Yeah, I used to love that.
That is such a classic
Yeah, I used to love that.
song. Yep.
It is.
I still like
That's
It
what
is.
we
Leave
Well,
those kids alone.
Yeah.
How brilliant!
No,
And you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
message was being passed.
Yep.
Who was that? Was that Pink Floyd or was that
Yeah.
Zeppelin?
No, Pink
Well, that's
Floyd.
Wall, right? The Wall. Yes.
That was
Yeah.
Pink Floyd.
I never
Yeah.
liked Pink Floyd or Zeppelin, but I'm not into Zeppelin still, or not into Pink Floyd still. But I'm getting a lot more respect for Led Zeppelin. I mean, them guys really had a lot of talent. I mean, in musically and in lyrics, and if you really listen to the lyrics, they said a lot of things. And
They did.
back then, and you know what the problem is? We don't have. We have a lot of songs that are catchy. We have a lot of songs people like, and I guess the individual, if you like the lyrics, that's fine. But back then, all the lyrics said something, and they said something to not just one or two, but a lot of people. Even the songs that weren't the hits. If you got an album, anybody, it didn't matter. That somewhere on that album, you were going to find a song that spoke to you and was actually very good and should have been a hit.
You're right, and that's like
I
the
miss
greatest
them
love
days
of all.
for that.
Right. Do you remember the greatest love of all? It became the big wedding hit.
Yeah.
Everybody at every wedding
Yes.
requested that song. That was their thing. What happened to the emotion that we once had, and that sharing of feeling?
Yes.
We really are lost from it. It was a different kind of vibration, different kind of feeling with
Yes.
rock. But when it came to the actual lyrics and functions of the words, there was amazing writers, even Air Supply, who had a lot of great hits. But like you said, they were writing more for other people.
Yes. And you know something, Michael? I'm going to tell you something. Music in any society is highly important. And
I agree.
back then, society was face to face all the time. I mean, the internet wasn't here, none of that. It was all face to face. So you got together with a bunch of people and you sang all the songs that were on the radio. You knew every damn one in the top 40, or you knew a bunch of other ones, So everybody was together, and it was easier. I mean, people got punched in the face when you got into a fight or something like that, okay? And nowadays with the internet, everything is much, much different. And music is started back and we can thank the sheriff down in Broward County for this rap music, which was, kill the cops, kill white, disrespecting women, disrespecting everything, because that's our culture. And then, like Randy brought up before, the girl in the, I don't know, McDonald's or wherever she was doing that kind of stuff,
Sure.
and it's not I agree with him. It is. You see a lot of black people doing it, but I've seen white chicks doing it too, and to me, it just disgusts me. I have no interest in it. Does I don't
Yeah.
find it sexy. I don't find any of it that way. But music brings people together. I mean, still to this day, and always will. I wish I had talent for that sort of thing, and I would, even at my age, I would just do it for myself because obviously I'm fat and old and bald, and I'm not going to be a rock star. So that's the way that goes, and somehow. But I still, like I'm out in my barn, I got the radio on, and I got a broom, I'm playing guitar, I'm doing all, people would think that maybe he needs to be in a home, but it makes me happy. You know what I mean? And I think everybody does the same damn thing. Okay,
That's
even Dave,
what's
he's like what
important.
98. He does it.
Yeah.
I heard,
I used-
Michael,
it's-
I heard Michael Anthony's fingers will lip sync any or finger sync any old cool guy video you want to have.
Guitar.
That's
What
how it
am I
works.
young talking about? Let's
Yeah,
hear
see,
from Jen.
guitar
Jen,
back there.
do you have an era song, Jen?
Yeah, I loved my friends and we loved Joan Jett. That was like we thought
Yeah.
thought it was so
Yeah.
funny to have it on our I got in so much trouble. We recorded it in the background on the answering machine. And so when my mom called to check when she was checking in on us at one time, she called, "Oh, we got in so much trouble because all she could hear was this, I hate myself for loving you," as loud as we could play it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Hello, you've reached
Yeah.
all of our names and we can't hear you. The radio's on too loud." And, she was so mad. But I really liked her. We liked
Actually, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not
She was-
bad. That was good.
it was good.
I do
And
that
then we
now.
There you go.
We
Put a little
liked
Snoopy into that.
we loved Billy
Yeah, I like
Joel,
that.
the piano man. He could play the harmonica, and then he wrote his own songs. I mean, it was crazy. We lost creativity. No one's creative anymore. Even the movies. There's like
Yeah.
5
Well,
movie theaters,
in the 80s,
and they're a monopoly. They're all in the same city.
Yeah.
And then there's the 3 little guys
Yeah.
that and they're in the same city too. There is nothing creative. All the movies are like redos, like Mary Poppins 2.0.
Same.
And
Yep.
it was like crazy the first time. It's just as bad the second.
Yeah. But you know what?
yeah.
I think
And you
we
know what
reflect-
else? The 80s ruined a lot of music. The 80s ruined a lot of movies because they first of all, the synthesized music is not music. It's a guy on a guitar, guy on the drums, guy on a bass, guy playing a flute like Jethro, in Jethro Tull, something like that. They knew music, they knew
Yeah.
theory, they knew all this stuff. It's amazing because I
Right.
always thought you pick up a guitar, you become a rock star. No. There are guys out there that couldn't read music and all that, but they're few and far between. Like you look at a lot of these guys, they know music now.
Yeah.
I have never watched a remake of anything I've watched when I was a kid, ever,
Good.
other than one.
It
Okay,
depressed me.
and that was
Which one?
McHale's Navy. And I
Okay.
watched it. I watched the remake. It was a movie, and I got halfway through it and had to go throw up. It was so bad because it wasn't Ernest Borgnine and Tim Conway and a bunch of them other, whoever the hell the other guys were. Oh, Gavin McLeod, all them guys, the captain from the Love Boat, all that.
Yeah.
Listen, Hollywood hasn't had a new idea other than wokeness in I don't know how long, and they throw away a classic like Gone with the Wind, but they'll put up, like a remake, like Jen just said, with Mary Poppins is suddenly black or gay or transvestite or some damn thing. I don't know.
Do something to the Little
And
Mermaid.
they wonder, we're losing millions of dollars in these movies, and they keep making them. Nobody wants to watch them. I watch old movies on TCM, all from the 40s, the 30s, and the 50s. Okay, they're all black and white. That's what I grew up with. Not the whole time, but I love them movies. The scariest movie I remember seeing when I was a kid, I was about 14 years old. It was, I think it was Boris Karloff was the Mummy. You didn't see one drop of blood.
Well, they're
You
mummified.
didn't see any of that stuff.
I
They
know.
only kill like this.
But it scared me. Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
That was the death
she's
scene.
absolutely right.
You know,
They don't have a new damn idea for nothing. They can't. And them guys were actors. They knew how to act too. They could, like Vincent Price, could probably, scare you kind of when you're a kid just by acting. Okay, like
The
Wax
Wax
Museum.
Museum.
Okay?
Oh
He
my
did
gosh.
that.
Yep.
Lionel Outwell and the original Wax Museum could do that. Nowadays, if you don't see a head rolling down the stairs, it's like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
You kidding?
Yeah.
I don't know. And Jen, you are a mother with kids that are actually going to these movies now. What are they, saying about these? Like they're new to them. So what are they saying?
They like the old movies better because they were kind of raised on it. We didn't have cable when we first got married. Well, no, it was it was about 2 years before we had our first. But they grew up on VHS because we couldn't afford the cable. So we saw all these old VHS all the time, and they love it. And they're like, "Do we still have those VHS?" I'm like, "No, my dad does in Michigan. He has a wall, if not two of them, in his basement with all these VHSs." And we're like, "What are you gonna do with them?" Nobody wants them. No, everyone pitches them. They melt. But anyhow,
Yeah.
they
know.
love the old stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the old wax museum that you were talking about
really?
with Vincent Price, the one part
Yeah.
in there, and the kids even know it. They saw that and they go, "Oh my gosh, Mom, they don't even do stuff like this." I remember they knew that they were missing someone in the society, and they said, "This figure in the wax museum looks just like her, but it's not. It's supposed to be, I don't know, Florence Nightingale or something." And they looked at her ear and they were like, "Oh my God, it had a pierced ear." And they're like, "This is the person that's missing." And it was weird little details like that it was good. It was creative.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
And
You know what? You blew my mind on
you
what
watch-
you said
I
about
watch-
McGill's Navy. But I want to go somewhere else. I was up camp, the wood shop. And I only get old school TV up there. There's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing. I mean, I go there. It's peace of mind. If I pick up the phone, I pick up the phone if I have service. But nevertheless, I thought I was watching I Do Magini was coming on. And here it turned out to be a movie. It was like the return. They called it the return of I Do Magini or something. She was no longer married to Tony. They were separated. It was the corniest thing you could ever imagine. But she had to make a deal with to save Tony's life. But in order to do it, she could never see him again, could never fall in love with the romance. But they told her that those were the restrictions. So you go through this long, drawn out, whatever love trauma thing that it was. Her being a genie, her sister causing all the trouble and turmoil she always did. And it wound up that Genie blinked to save him because he was in outer space and he was about to get hit by an asteroid. So she saves him. Mysteriously, something happens. The asteroid doesn't hit him, but he comes back and doesn't know who she is. So she has to meet him again, and they ended it. And I was like, boy, what bubblegum that was. I thought I was going to be watching like a couple episodes, Tony and the other goofball and them causing their shit. So here, I'm guilty of the bubblegum movie of the week. If you watched it, you'll know what I mean. And it'll even bore you.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But like the old Batman, as close to the freaking comic book as possible, because even if you read the comic book of Batman, every time he punched somebody, there's a big pow in the square thing,
right?
Whatever they call it,
right?
Okay, and same thing. When they were walking up a building, you could kind of tell that was, it was very campy, and the special effects, for as popular as that show was at the time, were bad. Okay, but you couldn't find a kid that didn't watch Batman. I watch it now and I'm like laughing at it, but the acting on it with Cesar Romero and I think he was the Joker. I'm not sure, but
he was.
no,
Yeah,
it might have been. I don't know. Either that or the other one. I mean, they knew how to. Them guys could act. They could be hams when they had to be. They could be serious when they had to. Now, Adam West, the only show he ever did good on was Batman, because I've watched him in westerns and he really was not a good actor. But in Batman, he was perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and they always won. They always won in the end. You know, because the good guys always won.
He also had all
the best thing that he did.
Right.
Yeah, he also had in the Batcave all the latest technology.
Right.
Did you look at the technology?
Yes.
That was our future being described.
A really, really cool car.
A really cool car. I'll agree to
really,
that.
really cool car that everybody wanted. Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, it's a, and Gilligan's Island. Even when I was a kid, I was like, you people, all 6, 7 of you, can't figure out one damn way. You got 900,000 visitors every year. Okay, coming to this island that is supposed to be deserted and no one knows where it is, and you can't get off this stupid island. But it was funny.
And you got a professor. And you got a professor.
Now it's
Can't make a boat, but he can make a transmitter out of
case full of cash. They could have paid for anything the professor could have built.
So funny.
Yeah.
Right. And the Brady
not only
Bunch.
that,
There
the
was
professor made a
family.
telephone out of a damn coconut.
Yeah.
The damn professor made a telephone out of a coconut. He couldn't get off the island. I mean, come on. Build a boat.
Yeah. He made batteries for that stupid white radio out of anything you could think of, too, but he could never tune anything in on the radio.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, that's
You know
funny.
what else? But here's the deal, like Jen was kind of saying, you know, back then you were supposed to kind of, in a lot of the, especially the comedies, you were supposed to suspend belief and just enjoy it, you know, and laugh. Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to think this was real, like cartoons. You weren't supposed to think that there were supposed to be no morals in cartoons. They were cartoons. In the 80s, they came out with morals in cartoons, and it just drove me nuts. Okay, because there's not, you know, Bugs Bunny was supposed to always win. Yosemite Sam was supposed to shoot himself in the face. And the Roadrunner was going to drop, or the Coyote was actually going to drop something from the Acme Company on his head, no matter what happened. Okay, and we laughed at that stuff because we were 5, and we all knew that probably if we ever found an anvil, that we weren't supposed to drop it on our brother's head because our parents would kill us.
Right.
So it wasn't like we were doing that.
No disclaimers.
I mean, I always figured, from the point of view of cartoons that you just watched to be entertained, was Popeye and Bluto. They could have beat the snot out of each other on every episode, but as soon as the cameras went off, I could just see those two guys sitting in a bar having drinks, old buddies, like nothing ever happened.
Actually, I wonder 2 things. Number one, why Bluto didn't kick Popeye's ass? Because in real life, that would have happened. I'm sorry, Bluto was a moose. And 2, why any other olive oil? Why olive oil was the ugliest cartoon woman I ever saw? She was. I'm sorry, scrawny and ugly, and
oh, that was funny.
But it was funny. It was, and you know, you knew Popeye was going to eat the spinach, which your mother used against you because you liked the Popeye, but I hated spinach. But she used to say things like, if you don't eat your spinach, you're not going to grow up big and strong like Popeye, which when you're 5, that really throws you for a loop. But you still hate spinach, and it was horrible. But you know what? Nowadays, you know, we binge watch stuff. I mean, we you know, it's everything is like, you know, shooting and in blood and in guts. And back in the day, it was a lot more.
Or the
fun.
world's ending.
Like one of the dumbest shows on TV was Welcome Back, Kotter. I think it was sometime in the 70s. My father hated that show, and I couldn't figure out why. So I watched it 30 years later and realized just how stupid it was. But we all laughed our ass off at Horseshack's voice. And they brought Horseshack's voice back because they had that Urkel kid that, as an adult, I wanted to take out of existence. Let's just put it that way.
Did I?
You know, and stuff like that. And my father, I swear to God, he did this to torture me. every Saturday night he'd put on The Love Boat. And I sat there and I
Oh.
explained it to him one night. The first 15
Followed
minutes, they
by
all meet. They get on
Fantasy
the boat and they
Island.
meet. The second 15 minutes, they all fall in love. The third 15 minutes, they all hate each other. The fourth 15 minutes, they all feel good and love each other again and get off the damn boat. I said, it's the same show every week. And he said, I like it.
Yep.
And that was the
But
end of
it is-
that.
That is true. That is
Or-
true. I mean, they never changed the narrative of it.
Or
Wow.
Fantasy Island, like Jen said, it was the
You know
same
what?
thing too. They pulled up at the island. They all got to live their fantasy. I've been
There was a
using
plan.
that against
Yeah.
Joe Biden. That Jill in 2012, Jill
The plane,
took
the
Joe to Fantasy Island and bought him a week of being the president. He just hasn't realized that it's over. The fantasy's over.
He found out how to make money doing it, though. Doggone
We
it.
go from hanging people for crimes on humanity to this. That could
Fantasy
be a
Island.
movie.
Yeah.
Well, I've said a few times.
You know
I've
what?
said a few times
Thing
lately on
is,
posts that I think movies. Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
Well, I don't know. It shows you where we were as a society, where you could either be best friends or you could get in a fight, and you had to either take the punch. Somebody was gonna. Okay, but then in the end, a lot of times you became friends, and if you didn't, you stayed away from each other and they didn't bother you anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, we all liked the same stuff. It was music, or it was, did you go see this movie and blah, 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 all this kind of thing. Like I remember when Billy Jack was in the movie theaters and everybody went and seen it but me, and I felt bad. I was like, damn. And Billy Jack can't act at all. I've watched it since. He sucked at acting, but I can understand why kids would like it, because he was Billy Jack. He kicked people in the head. We understood that we had parents that there were no excuses. My father did not believe me until I was in the 11th grade, and he actually checked on it when I told him my teacher was wrong. It took me to the 11th grade for me to get him to believe anything I said about if the teacher was pissed off at me. Okay.
Wow.
And that was just the thing. You didn't have to like it. That was the way it was. Okay. Nowadays, parents, and then, it started in the 60s or 50s, whatever it was, the 60s, I guess, where, I want it all. And the women started leaving the house. Growing up, my mother was home every day. I didn't particularly like that at all. My mother was psycho, but nevertheless, most mothers were home, and dad went out and worked. Okay, and now look what we have now. It's such a contrast to what we have now. I think it is important to talk about.
Yep.
We can't bring it back. We'll never bring it back, but we could get to some kind of understanding on it.
Right.
Wow.
Like
Maybe it's when we get a better
some kind of
control
middle
of our-
ground or something.
Well, maybe Jerry, it's when we
Parents need to take
when we
control.
get our
Parents
economy
need to take care
straightened
of
out.
control of their own homes.
Right, but maybe it's when
but
we
no.
get
Parents
our
need to
economy
take-
straightened out, and
Man,
one
parents
parent can stay home and do that, and not have to worry about
Well,
being able to.
I agree with that. Yes.
I mean, I was
Thing
lucky.
is,
My
not
mother.
even that. You have to. The parents. I don't care how they do it, whether they have to work or not. They had the kids. They have to straighten out the home. The government can't do that.
No, you're right.
The
That's
parents
where you're
need to be in control of the home. I mean, you tell a kid something, and they get to an age you're going to argue about every damn thing, and I get that. But at some point, you got to say, you know what? No, that's it. Be the end. You don't like it? Give me this, or give me your phone, give me your TV. But that's another thing. Take the TVs out of the bedrooms, take the damn phones out of their hand, and make them go outside. And I don't know, some of them need to see sunshine. That's what I'm going to tell you. They need to see sunshine for
right.
the first
brought
time in
up
their
some-
life.
Kids,
Because
I mean,
they don't.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is real quick. Blew my mind. I made a post about it. I'm down at the mall, shopping State Mall. It's a food mall with a couple other stores in it. And the mother says, "Go grab your scooter." And she's pushing the cart, comes over, asks me for a light. I said, "I don't have one. Sorry." I just didn't want nothing to do with the scenario. Just if you would have been there, you would have done the same thing. She's walking off. even care where her kid is and tells her kid, "Did you leave your scooter?" Well, the kid forgot she came on a scooter. What's the first thing she does? It's a push scooter. 1 foot, you push it. Immediately, cell phone. You can hear her talking. She's on a push scooter going into traffic. And then she's meeting with her friends, all on scooters, all with cell phones, like a new gang. And I was like, what? Kids on scooters with cell phones now in the streets? I mean, is this a new? How far do we have to go, and how far will parents go? I wanted to also say one other thing. You're talking about good storylines. The Great Escape, The Godfather, things that they don't do anymore. Yeah. I mean, they were really things that I think if kids gave them an honest chance to watch, they might find that they're educational, and fundamentally, it could be some fiction, but at the same time, a great learning experience. The problem with that is tomorrow they would all probably be nicknamed Capone, acting like him.
Yeah. Well, that's where do you think drive-by shootings came from? These guys back in the day used to watch the 1930s movies and stuff.
Exactly
and
why
they had drive-by shootings then in the movies and in real life, actually. And now we got drive-by shootings all the time. The difference is those guys back then hit who they wanted to hit. These guys now shooting sideways and stuff hit a 13-year-old kid in her house.
Right.
And
right.
It drives me nuts that this is happening. You know, because these that's taking. Well, it was real life back in the 20s and stuff with Al Capone, but this is a freaking movie. It doesn't mean you take that out of the house, get in your car, and go drive by and shoot a bunch of people. That's not how this works. Okay, it's not how it works. It's
agreed.
It's a TV, movies, and in some cases music. There's something for inside your head. You laugh, you cry, or you get pissed off, or you enjoyed hell out, whatever it is. Okay, and then you go about your life as a normal person, right? I mean,
right.
I don't know.
I don't have that capability. Some people just get influence off nothing, but in ways we do too. But it's all about proper storylines and within music. I mean, another song that I used to like as a kid, going back to music for a minute, and even as an adult, was some of the Beach Boys stuff and a song called Snoopy. Snoopy came from a very bad part of time. It was a storyline of an experience that they put that connected to other people that went through the same thing. And it was about wanting each other in love. I mean, so, people made connections like that. We are no longer fundamentally seeing things like that. We're seeing Death Punch, grunge, Morse pits. I mean, bounce off each other, shave your head, Nazism,
Grand Theft Auto.
I mean,
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. There's a zillion of them out there, and every video, if you really go into the videos and you watch them, they reflect the turmoil of 2020 to now. I joke not. Cities burning, cars on fire, everything that they did. And I know, like even in Megadeth, the lead singer guitar player said, I had to get away from music because it was destroying my life. I had to find Jesus because this was all satanic doing. I mean,
I heard.
Right?
I saw that. I saw that.
I mean, there's a shitload of testimonies like. I'm sorry, Jen.
Or I just wanted to say that people copy what they see. They copy their culture. That's what they need. But when I grew up, we had so many detective shows. We had so many game shows too. We got to think. I don't think they can do that anymore. Well, I probably couldn't play Jeopardy anymore. I don't really know what's going on. But I mean, we would watch Cagney and Lacey. Then there was that.
Oh, Cagney,
Cagney and Lacey.
Magnum PI.
PI.
Fathers love.
I think they were actually telling. Those kind of shows were putting the ideas. I think those kind of shows, Jen, were putting ideas into the kids' head. We better not go out and start trouble. Look at all this shit they're showing us. We're going to go to jail if we ring a doorbell and run, or light a bag of poop on fire.
10, 12 years ago. 10, 12 years ago, they had the reruns of Magnum on, and it came on at 7 o'clock at night. And if we were out, I'd be looking at my wife like 10 minutes to Magnum. We need to go. 10 minutes to
Hi,
Magnum.
Nick.
We need to go. It's like, yeah.
Hello,
Okay.
brother Nick.
Oh,
You know,
that's so funny.
Hey, Nico. Hey, Nick. How
Magnum
you doing?
PI.
Good to see
That's
you.
awesome.
Comment ça va?
But
Well,
we watched the
I think
remake
actually
of
he is absolutely correct. You know, we thought it's just like to go back to the cartoons. We all knew not to, you know, throw an anvil on our brother's head. We might punch him, we may hit him, we may push him down, but you're not going to do something stupid because we kind of knew that we you know, our parents told us it's fake. You can't really do that in real life. And if they ever caught you trying to do something stupid you saw on a TV show or cartoon or whatever, you know, the consequences were not good. You were going to be crying, wondering why you're laying on the floor and that sound of your dad's belt is happening because, you know, that's the way it
there's
went.
an anvil on your head.
And you learn real quick.
No, go ahead.
Right.
I just had a thought come to mind. There was a show that was years ago. I don't remember what it was called. I could see it in my head. I didn't watch it a lot, but every time I watched it, he was teaching kids, whoever was watching, the audience, how to make bombs, makeshift this, makeshift that.
MacGyver.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah,
No,
sort of like,
MacGyver. MacGyver.
Oh yeah, MacGyver.
MacGyver.
Yeah, yeah.
MacGyver.
And he was,
Okay.
he
Yeah.
was like, you know, the Big Bang Theory genius, basically sharing to the world how to be bad. And the shit worked because I knew people that were trying it. It was nuts.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever saw him do that I know for a fact wouldn't have worked is when he had to fix a generator with a broken piston. So he took the piston and he welded it with a silver dollar and an old battery that was probably 30 years old. But on the show, it actually worked. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. So I never tried that. But there was a lot of stuff he did that I remember kids trying that stuff.
Well, you can weld with a battery.
No, you can, but not with a silver dollar and not a piston, and then have the generator run for the next 12 hours. That's not going to happen. The piston will break somewhere else because, that's not going to happen. But you can weld with a battery, if you know, depending on what it is. But I'm just saying, you know, there was a lot of, and he's right. A lot of kids try this stuff. You know, look at Nick. He's never been right since MacGyver. I mean, he does that all the time. He's still trying.
Is that true, Nicky?
Yeah, don't get a mason jar, a big mason jar, and fill it up with like Clorox,
Dry ice.
Well, no, not even dry. Baking soda.
It's like chloroform.
And that blue granule stuff, and then sit it in the sun by a neighbor's tree down the street. You just might blow up the tree. Just saying, not that I know about it. Just saying.
You never know.
No, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Nikki, since everybody got their opening comment and you came in so late, what else should people know that they shouldn't try to do?
Screw with mom and dad.
Be right back.
Okay. All right, Jerry. Screw with mom. Well, that's true.
Don't screw with mom and dad because, you know, like they say, father knows best. And if it's not what you think is best, he's going to make you believe it's best. And so will mom, even more ferociously than father will.
Mm-hmm.
Mom will be the one to hang you upside down and bring father's belt out and wear your ass out. Put it that way.
This is true.
Because you lied to her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
don't lie to mom for sure. You can lie to
I
dad.
agree, but you know, don't parents now get in trouble if they lay a hand on their own child? The discipline is bad.
There's
Domestic
that.
terrorists.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty bad as us as free people with a constitutional right that we can no longer do things that are ethical. and that are more than ethical. They're so greatly important as a red flag to so many things now. And in a way, that's another issue of topic to where they need to keep their mindset and thoughts out of our business as well as anything else that they try to throw at us like that. Because, there's a whole future of young people about ready to have families and children. And um, you, we got to hope to God that they discipline properly, that it is necessary. I mean, you don't want to create pain and suffering on a child, of course. I think the mind has been explained by many people. Now, I'm not a specialist at this, but I do believe it because of certain objectives that I've witnessed and seen in my own life. But if you get that child between the ages of 0 to 7 to 10, where that mind's like a sponge, and you put the best input into that child during that point, that they are going to come out like rock stars. If you feel during that point, they're going to search for information because that sponge wants to absorb. That it's within our instincts. The same thing, you throw a dog in the water, it begins to swim. It does the doggy paddle. It comes to the shore. It reacts. It's like it knows. And I think children, boys and girls alike, act the same way. But it's sad because we have to be so careful because we're treading on thin water in a society who's running our lives. Disciplining us, not the decision that's going to make America better.
Good
Correct.
point.
Yep. Good
If
point.
that's deep, I'm sorry.
No,
It's just
no, but
the way
it's
I
true.
see it. We want to go back to music. It's somebody hand that woman a microphone.
No, without
Two turntables
discipline
and a
in the home,
microphone.
it starts inside the four walls of your house. Without the damn discipline in the home, and without and like he says, like my mother beat the hell out of me all the time. Half times wasn't even a reason for it. My dad was the cool guy. You just didn't piss him off, which was hard to do actually. So if he was pissed off, you probably deserved it, right? Now, but there is a happy medium there actually. Most kids grow up with that. But this whole thing now where they're just kids. Well, yeah, but that don't make their behavior good. You got to correct that crap. Okay, so you're constantly correcting it, and then they, when they get to be teenagers, they're going to be incredibly stupid and doing a lot of incredibly stupid things. But at that point, then you got to teach them. Hey, this is your fault, not his, not theirs. Not about you. You did this, so stop being a moron. Okay, then they, you put that in their head, and when they leave home, they're completely unready because that's what everybody is. We were. The difference is that your father would laugh at you when you screwed up after you left home, because you did something really stupid. Okay, and that was the way that was. We cannot expect the government, the neighbors, or anybody else to discipline your kid. Although there was a time where neighbors, dad didn't give a damn if neighbor knocked the hell out of you. I'm telling you right now, okay? Because you were doing something stupid and you deserved it. It's that simple. It needs to
Oh, it was
start inside the four walls of every house in America, teaching and big, morals, which is damn near everything, frankly, doing right, I mean, I
yeah,
look
it
at
was a
Jen's
known.
kids, they all seem happy. I see two of them actually hugging each other last night. You don't see that often anymore. And I'm assuming that was a brother and sister. I don't know. Either that was strange people in our house, something. I don't know. But the point is that, you got to have, yes, these kids are running feral in the streets and parents don't know where the hell they are or
Must have
what
been
they're
Jen's
doing.
bedtime. She
And
just
they're not even the streets. It's more on the internet. I mean, we have little girls at 13 years old that think some guy in Wyoming loves them, and they figure out a way to get to Wyoming, and then you never see them again because parents have no clue what their kids
Yep.
doing on the internet, much less outside the house. It
Yeah,
starts
that's
inside the
that's
four walls, and
that's
what you just said
shameful
up
too.
here, Michael, is absolutely true. It's if we don't start in the home, it's never going to change, and it's going to get much worse.
Yeah. Investing
you
now
know,
is better than
outside the
investing
homes
in
to help. We
education
need
in
to
college.
get judges to stop giving kids every chance in the world. We got to get judges to stop giving every kid a chance in the world to, you know, well, he's just a kid, so we're going to go easy on him. No, don't go easy on him. Stop going easy on him, because then they think that they're untouchable.
Right.
Okay, and by God, if you do see some kid getting beat or in a bad situation, horrible, make the goddamn phone call, at least.
Yep.
I mean, I listened to Nick tell the story of his daughter, and it seemed like it pissed me off worse than him, because I was pissed. And he had no help. And now his daughter is doing very well. But what a hard life that made it, because she was being abused badly.
Absolutely.
And
pisses me
Jared,
off.
she texted me this morning.
And we
Listen
got
to
to
this
get to a point.
I didn't expect this. She texted me this morning, and she said, "Is Maman there? My mom?" I said, "Yeah, she's here." I said, "Okay." She said, "Well, I have a surprise for her." I'm like, okay. She said, "Well, it's actually a surprise for everybody, but especially her." I'm like, okay. So first thing in my mind was, don't you damn bring a goddamn puppy here, because we don't need any more animals around here. That was my first thought. No, it was my stepson and his wife and their new baby came into town and showed up. Haven't seen him in a long time. That kid hugged me till no end, because I raised that kid from diapers. But his Jasmine and his mother and his brother's mother abused a whole bunch. And that kid told me many, many years ago. He's been in the Navy for a long time. He's now on a 3-month, vacation. And he always told me, called me dad all the time. He said, "Dad, I want to live with you. I don't want to go back to my mom." It's like, see why I did what I did? Her own, not even my biological kids, were sick and tired of the abuse, because that woman is evil, and they showed up and they have a brand new little beautiful little baby boy, and I'm like, holy
You ever
crap.
come on again, I'm gonna get him to tell the whole story. The shit this girl has been through in her life is unreal to have turned out the way she did, and the only reason she did was because Nick actually parented her, and he got a late start. You'll come on the show and I'll tell you, and there's a lot more to it that actually will piss you off even worse. But for that alone, it's worth it, because it can be done. But you can't play games with kids. I mean, you can, but when they're real little. But when they get to a certain age, it's like, no, you're not doing that at the end. Have a nice day. Shut up.
She sent me a lengthy message on Father's Day. And I tell you what, I had tears in my eyes for what she said, because she finally, I know she appreciates what I did, but she put it all into words. What I did for her, the years and years of fighting to get her, and yeah, but I do it all over again. It's for any of even my stepsons. I have 2 stepsons. I do it for them too. I tried, but
Right.
I had no say so in that matter. But they have nothing to do with their mother at this point.
Your desire and willingness to do
I had
it
a similar situation.
shows who the type of man you are,
Yeah.
and that's what's important. Just focus on all of that. Because we all share in problems. I had an abused daughter in a relationship I had to rescue. I have a daughter who's lost. As a matter of fact, I got to do something today. I haven't heard from her. I tried to restore a relationship. She's 34 today, and I'm still trying to teach her the difference between right and wrong. And she decided that I'm a narcissist because I have viewpoints that only go my way. But she's lost in the views of the world in popularity, as if it's a popularity contest without responsibility. And how many times does dad have to pay you out or try to help you out or to gift you in some way for you to love him? And when
Yep.
I don't, no good anymore. So I get all this. I'm in the same boat as you. That's called the American family, the American dream.
Yep.
And it comes with everything. The it's a package deal. One never knows. Some parents lose a child over sickness. We all fight disasters within. All I can say to you is my focus is that, but I really do need to do this just to know in my heart that I put out something there positive that says, and I'm going to have to get off here and write that because honestly, today is her birthday. She doesn't want to talk to me no more unless it fits her. If it fits her, then I'm a good guy. Outside of that, I think wait for me to die to get everything dad had. I don't know. I mean, is that what you're waiting for? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But there's
Yeah.
a separation still there that I'm fighting with every fucking day. And every night when I go to bed, I think about this young lady.
Yep.
They think that we forget them because we don't agree with them. But I'm
Yep.
still trying to teach her, even though she has
Yeah.
children taller than me. You know what I mean? She's a young mother
Yeah.
with children that are bigger, the dude's bigger than me, and it's like, come on. But yeah, I'm gonna have to, I know where you're at, is all I'm saying. And brother, just if you focus the way you've expressed, I got nothing but love for you as a human being because you're doing all the things right, and I hope that we can all get it right.
Yep. Yeah, my daughter just turned 27
Listen,
on the 26th.
I had this,
So, and I have 3 beautiful grandchildren. The oldest one is 10.
Yeah.
And yeah. So she's giving me all I wanted, but I gave her all she wanted. It's been a struggle. Believe me, it wasn't easy because, I got her when she was like 13. So,
I had the same problem.
I
Why
had
we
to
get
deal
these
with that
guys?
I
crap.
had the same problem with my daughter. I had the same problem with my stepdaughter, who I consider my daughter, but as opposed to Nick, way shorter time, and that almost killed me. I
Took you 9
actually have
years.
utmost of respect what Nick did because and I met her when she was 18. She moved out when she was 20, and then obviously since then, but she straightened herself out a lot. But 2 years almost killed me. I can't imagine doing that for longer than that. I don't know. Just thinking about that, because I can if going through what I went through with my daughter, it probably is a lot of the same shit, with the fuck you don't know what you're talking about, I'm gonna do what I want crap, and all that. But and then going and doing it, which is always fun. But that's why I respect Nick a lot, because he did take that time, that energy, and had it in him to do it. Because I don't know how I swear to God, there came a day in our house where it was either me or her. One of us was going, because otherwise I was going to kill something. And I don't have his not
Patience?
personality, but his calmness or
Resolve.
patience or whatever the hell it is.
It took a
No,
lot,
I got the
Jerry.
resolve because
It
I
took a
was really going
lot.
to kill her once. But
Calmness,
the patience
patience.
and the tolerance of the, what she says to you, and she's saying it to hurt your ass. She's saying it viciously, or she's giving you the look where she's saying "fuck you, asshole" kind of thing.
Or she just say it out
I got to
loud.
tell you, oh yeah, that too. Yeah, well, no, mine never did that because she knew I was going to put up with that. But I guarantee you, as she was walking away, she was muttering the words. I guarantee it, because you could. She had the best look in her eye for that particular phrase I've ever seen. But yeah, but I did kind of like, and I was lucky because it was only a couple of years before she did move out. She did come back twice and tell me you were right about everything, and because she was going down the same road I was going. Exactly, almost exactly. Other than the fact she was a girl and there's obviously different. She was dealing with guys or whatever, but he dealt with that for whatever 9 years. You think he said? I don't know, and people have dealt with it for a lot longer than that. And my
It was
first
9
marriage
years to
actually
get
broke up
her.
because of the kid.
It was 9 years to
Yeah.
get her.
So
Then
and
the struggle really
yeah,
started because she was 13 years
yeah,
old. So yeah,
yes.
then the guys started
And
coming
that's
in,
such a
and
yeah, it's
they
such a
were
fun age to
abusing
try to
her,
change shit.
and the guys
Yeah,
were abusing
that's such a
her, and
fun
the
age.
whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
Jasmine, he's a piece of, you know, I know a dick
yeah,
when I see it walking in the door. Say, Jasmine, lose
yeah,
his tool.
yeah,
But I love him. You know, you get
yeah,
that whole shit spiel.
yeah.
But I love him, Daddy.
The heart
But he
wants what
doesn't
it
love you if
wants.
he's leaving bruises on you. I mean, am
Yeah.
I gonna have to shoot the fucker, or where's the end result here? I mean, enough is enough. I'm trying to help you here. You're not helping yourself.
Well, there was one guy. There was one guy. One night, I was, I was ready. I don't know why this happened, but I lost him in traffic, and I could go through the whole story, but it'd take too long. But I went after him to end his life for her, and I was dead serious. I actually, there was a bunch of crap that happened in the beginning of the night, and I got in the damn truck and I sat there with the lights off, waiting for him to come down the street again. After the cops told him, "Don't come back here," and he did, and I lost him in traffic, and I was able to calm down after that, so I didn't really get to shoot him. But there's been very few people in my life that I've wanted dead, and he was one of them.
I
Very
know how
few,
you
to the
feel.
point where I was seriously considering it. Yeah, I mean, I was seriously consider. I mean, I had already made the decision. If I catch up to this motherfucker, I'm putting a bullet in his head, and I'll go to prison. Okay, that's it. And I mean, I can count on less than one hand how many people I have felt that way about my life. And this guy had done things to her. There was a whole thing, blah blah, restraining orders, all this bullshit, and she turned out she's I don't know, but she's married now to she's gay and she's married to a woman. So, and we like her wife, we love her life. It's just, everything, it's, and I don't care. I don't give a shit if she's gay. I just want her to be happy. And but she not only fought me and even her mother after a while on this guy, she fought every one of her friends who told her long before we did, get rid of this motherfucker. So
Yep.
that night,
Sorry
I
for
got
your
very
struggle,
lucky because
brother.
otherwise I'd be in prison now. But you know what?
Yeah.
Again, I think this goes on everywhere. I think we are nothing special. We, it, you know, but people at least keep trying. You know, if you have a right head you have the right mindset, and you don't want to see somebody who's young do the same stupid crap you did that caused your life to be ruined. Okay, you have to stand up and do what you need to do, and I think that is a lot more prevalent than people will maybe want to give credit for. And I have found that doing our show and like Nick coming on and telling us, and then other people saying the same, we got to do this or that, whatever. And that gives me some kind of hope for the future because regardless of how long it was, we had influence on 2 girls in this world that have straightened themselves out and are, decent people and all that, the whole thing you're supposed to be. So anyway, that's enough.
It can be done, but it's hard work. It is, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, in time,
I'm glad.
They
Yeah,
think you're right.
glad.
Yep. It's
We
worth
learn
it.
in time things get better.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, Michael.
now she actually drove 3 hours to see me on Father's Day.
Cool.
And
Very cool.
she doesn't call me. I'm not her father. She has a father, but she calls me dad, and that's good enough.
Close enough.
Close enough.
And yeah, and I get it. Her father. I don't think she has the hero complex for her father anymore, but he was something. But anyway, whatever. That's her father, and he's dead now. And actually, I never told her this. I'm kind of glad he's dead because I've dated many women with kids and have had fathers in this picture or out of the picture, but hating me or hating them or something. And this was a lot easier than it could have been. So.
Right.
And I think this, what Michael Anthony's going through and what Nick went through and what I went through, and we still worry, but I think in the end, if you keep fighting for it, you can find a happy medium and actually, be glad you did it and just didn't say, you know what, it ain't worth it.
Yep.
I'm done talking now.
All right. We'll go around. Let's see. We'll go because Nikki joined us last. We'll go from Nikki to Mike. From Nikki to Jerry to Mike, and we'll close it out. And I am very happy that all of you came. Very happy that Jen came. And I think we're going to try to do this 7 p.m. Tuesday nights. And the door's always open. Everybody's always welcome. And Nikki.
Yeah. I was late coming on, of course, but I had my stepson here and, his wife and the baby. So, that was the reason for that.
You should get here.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I would have been here earlier, but that's, that's the reason because I hadn't seen the boy in quite some time and his wife, and I'd never met the baby, and I met the baby today. And that was a great experience. And he's off for 3 months, so they're going to be in town, staying at my daughter's house the whole time. So I'm going to get to see him quite a bit in the next 3 months. So that's a great experience. The kid begged me to live with me back in the day when he was younger. Begged me to live with me. And like, I'm sorry, Johnny, there's nothing I can do, buddy. I mean, I'm not your father biologically, so I have no say-so in the whole thing. But anyway, but great day overall. Big surprise because I thought Jasmine was bringing a damn puppy. Seriously, the first thing. I got a surprise from Momo, but it's actually for everybody. I'm like, don't bring a fucking puppy over here because I don't need another dog in the house. I'm done. I have the 3 cats left. I'm done with the animals. I got to feed these things. So, but otherwise, it was a great day, happy day for me. Hot day. Oh my God, it's sweltering down here. Jerry knows all about that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's great to see everyone. And I'm going to try to make more of these shows as I can.
Good.
Because this was a good discussion that I really enjoyed. And other than that, bonsoir, everyone.
Well, I'm glad you came. I hope you do come more often. I know it's hard on Jerry and you, Nikki, because you do something 4 days a week. That I'm sure people are bugging you to do something on the other 2 days. I won't do Sunday anyway because I don't want to do
Got the Nikki dues.
But you know,
Not the honeydews, but the Nicky
it's
dudes.
nice to have you guys on. Now, Mr. Jerry.
He's speechless.
He's thinking about that new song he's going to put out tomorrow.
Well, I tell you,
That and the fact he's going to drive up here and cut my internet wires.
this
so I
ain't
can't
hard for me to do, Dave. I like you. You know, you're a good guy, and it actually helps in my life.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you come on here anytime that you can come on anywhere with, you know, different type of people that with different mindsets and maybe saying different things, and everybody does it very calmly. They don't, nobody's calling nobody names, none of that garbage on the internet. I thoroughly enjoy that. I have a reputation of talking too damn much, which is rightfully my reputation because I do. But in the end, you know, I have a respect for people that I have met on the internet because they're able to do that. Nick is one of them. That's why, you know, that's why he's with us on the American Rebellion. It's that simple. And we don't do anything different really than we did here. We, you know, before Nick got here, we talked about politics. We talked about all kinds of stuff, and nobody was arguing. Nobody was punching each other. Nobody was calling each other names, storming out, none of that garbage. So it's well worth it for an hour or two to take the time to be able to do that. And I want to thank Dave and Michael for having me on. Thank you very much.
You guys are welcome anytime. You know, you guys are welcome anytime.
Same as you, Dave.
Wow. So we're in a.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a moment of where it's so deep, but you know, in a way, it is because every day we wake up, we face things, we read things, we bring topic to the American people. But tonight we showed it like you do on your show, a different side of a reality of who people really are. And that just goes to show you that there is diversity in good ways amongst people. And all people are flexible. All people want is normalcy, family, and we all share problems and scenarios of difficulties and times. Wonderful that you got to meet that new baby. You know what I mean? And I know you're gonna do and be a great grandpa. Bottom line,
Yep.
You're still gonna be a great grandpa. You know, the things that you did to support your child, the things that I've tried to do, we share in some very intimate scenarios of information here. And it's overwhelmingly good in my mind, because I think that's an example to America to say to everybody out there, you can take these moments, whether it's in the middle of a political show or not, to just relieve the tension, to let loose and share things like everybody has. So I enjoyed your all the commentary that you brought, the information. Most of all, you know, the fact that you shared in the way that you did. I'm not real used to that part, but it was nice to break down, to tease one another a little bit about like I did with you. And I thank you guys for that. It's nice to break away from the reality of what we're living in to come here and see normalcy. I'll just leave it like that. Dave, I guess we're going to look forward to Tuesday. I'm going to cut out. I did make a post
Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, and also Tuesday night, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And all I know that are definite are myself, Michael, Jen, Randy Rhodes may pop in, I hope, and the two of you are welcome. And I think that leaves me one or two for people who are in the live chat that might want to pop on. The most I've ever done is, I think we had 5. Yeah, we had 5 at one time. That's the most I've ever done. But if it works, it worked. So let's see. I'm going to look at Nikki, and I'm going to say it. I'm not going to type it into the live chat. I'm going to say Bon Sour, and
Sour.
no one seems to understand what it was. I meant to type Bonsoir, like Nikki always says Bonsoir on the American Rebellion, and I mistyped it and I put in Bon Sour. So every time,
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. That's why I.
Oh, you
That's
did that on
why
purpose.
just like at 7 o'clock when I communicated.
I call it Bony Suarez, so I don't feel bad. I call it Bony Suarez. I have no idea how to spell sour
It's like
or sore.
I say good morning when I walk into your the American Rebellion live chat, even though it's 7 o'clock at night. People ask me why I do that because my radio thing was 10 o'clock at night, and I always told people that I worked from 10 a.m. to 7 a.m. So anyway, and Michael, I got one last question before you go, Michael. You said you went up to the camp, and I hope you did some wood carving while you were up there. What's the last thing you carved?
A giraffe.
Yeah.
A giraffe.
A giraffe.
Shit. That is talent. Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, all right. I see them guys on videos. That's talent. Yeah.
If you ever
Yeah.
get a chance to see pictures of what he's carved or know anybody who's looking for it, I always tell people.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I wish I could do one or the other, but I feel like what's important right now, it's not so much the carving, to be honest with you. It's just not there anymore in my head. There's so many other different things that are important. Maybe come fall, I'll be able to make different adjustments. But, yeah, I'm not looking to do anything for anybody. I'm not posting anything. It's just if I go out there, it's because my mind needs to be in that type of an environment. I need to, shut out everything because to me that's what I need to do. But I think I have something here because Randy asked me, what did you do lately? And he wanted a picture today from anybody that I guess what was the last picture you took?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And
oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I didn't really do it, but I guess I should have. But I think I sent him the picture.
Okay.
Oh wow. Nice.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Cool.
I suck,
Yeah.
but I tried.
Cool.
Nobody sucks. You just do what you
If I
can
did
do.
that, it would turn into a pile of ash. I could make that and then turn it into a pile of ash in the fire pit. I could do that.
But wouldn't it be
here's
the
this
best
like
thing.
pile of ash that you made, Jerry? If that's what you did with it, wouldn't it be the best pile of ash that you ever made? I don't know.
Not if I was carving. No, it would just be firewood.
I'd
that's
probably
what
carve
I
off
did,
both of my hands and my 10 fingers and my 10 toes at the same time because I probably couldn't lift the chainsaw anyway that I've seen Michael do carvings with. But
The weirdest part of my life is I could never draw a picture. But something in my head kept saying me, you can do it with a chainsaw.
That's crazy.
that
I was
is
going to
the
ask you, was
weirdest-
that with knife or chainsaw?
No,
With
that was chainsaw. Yeah,
Holy crap.
there was a little grooming
Yeah,
with a
I've
few
watched
other
them guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you got a lot of tools you use. I get that, but I've watched guys do that
It's like
chainsaw
ice
thing.
sculptures.
And wow, that's something.
Yeah.
99% of
Yeah,
what I
kinda,
do,
Oh, that's beautiful. I like that.
99% of what I do is really all chainsaw. I do when I do the
Crap.
beak, I
Yeah.
get some sandpaper and but I use a chisel to do the eyes because you're not going to get in there with a tip, and I
Right.
use carving things. But again, it's been a while. It's been a long while. I'll show you a picture of a bear real quick. Got a little bear pup here, but these are what I do as my carnival bears.
Oh,
Kind of
okay.
cool, man.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
not perfect, but I mean, they're cute. People see them and they're like, "Oh, I want that," but I don't have that time. It's either I do what I do,
Yeah.
take care of life and everybody around me, or I just go to this full time and nobody's really looking for it.
Well,
Yeah.
That's the fact.
Well, sometimes, Michael, it's not good to turn a hobby that you enjoy into any kind of business because it just screws
no.
you up, and you should just
Yeah,
keep
it
it as a
becomes
hobby. It relaxes you.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
I've
the
done this,
interest.
and that's how I know.
becomes a
If it's a
job.
job, if
Yeah,
it's
it
a
Yeah,
becomes
job,
a
it's no
job.
longer a hobby.
yeah,
Yeah, when it,
Well,
right.
Yeah.
I know one
Yeah.
thing.
Isn't
I
a
know
hobby
one thing.
anymore.
If I had to travel across the United States and I had very little money, and I know if I took my chainsaw, I could make my way across the United States. All I
Yeah.
need is 20 cents
Yeah.
worth of gas,
I
and
could do that, but I'd have to take
I could make $10
I'd have to take a
instantly.
pistol. It's a little different. Yeah, if I could do that too,
Yeah,
but I'd have
well,
to take a
there's
pistol. And
that.
it's a little different that way, but liquor stores, gas stations, stuff like that. But I could get across. Yeah. Well, depends on the truck, and it's not very fast, so I'd have to like try to figure out shortcuts to get away from the police. But in the end, I'd get there. Yeah, sure. But your idea sounds a lot better because of the lack of jail time, actually, in court proceedings and stuff. So
Yeah,
I may
well,
think about it.
I could earn my
Yeah.
way across. It's just, it's a shame that I
Ah.
had to wait till I was in my 60s to figure that out.
Yeah, right?
You know?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
Oh,
go,
come
guys.
on, Michael.
I'm gonna go, guys. Have a great
All
night.
right, Michael. Always a pleasure. Welcome
Later.
back.
Take care, guys. Yeah, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go too.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Thank
Time
you,
to
Dave.
go.
I appreciate it.
Nice show,
Nick,
Dave.
you have a
Thank
good
you.
night. We'll see
Yeah,
everybody
thanks,
tomorrow, hopefully.
Anytime,
And
yep. I'll try to
Yep.
pop in. All right, guys.
take care of yourselves and so on and so forth. And keep up the
Yep.
good work, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Do the
Thank
right
you.
thing.
Dave, thanks a
All
lot. I
right.
appreciate it.
Hey, thank
Yes.
you. I'm glad
Yeah.
you came.
Thank you,
All
Dave.
right, Nikki. Okay. Let me see.
Good night.
Good night, Nick. Okay. Good. All right. Hey, it was a great broadcast. I'm glad. Let's see. We had Michael Anthony and I started it. Randy Rhodes came in and joined us. Jen, the homeschooling mom, popped in. And those are the basic people that will be here Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. Unless you're in Idaho, like Jen, then it's 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I didn't boot Jen. Jen didn't jump off. Usually, if Jen jumps off, it's because things she has to take care of at home with 5 kids and a husband and all of that stuff. So I did unplug my earplugs and walked away from the camera for a moment because Delilah, our chihuahua, was on the bed and I wanted to get her down onto the floor. But hey, anybody is welcome Tuesday. And if there's a camera open, come on into the live chat. I'll make a habit of leaving the link posted, and you are more than welcome to join us. We are live all over Facebook. We were in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. We were on my profile. We're in Mega News Nation, our new Mega group that we're working with via Hammer, and all over Facebook. And if you didn't see us in your Facebook group and you want us there, go to my profile and take it and share it and remind me, and I'll make sure that you get it in your group next Tuesday. And on that note, I'm going to reach up here and say this is the time where I tell you watch Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk. It was a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. We own the name, we own it all. You all know all that a year before, but that's the disclaimer that we have to throw in. Equal time is always given to responsible parties with opposing views. It means if you didn't agree with something anybody on the broadcast said or anybody in the chat rooms said, you got a right to come on camera with your mic and confront whoever and speak your view. It's not always politics, but it followed that circle of politics. It followed the American Rebellion format. And that's really what it's going to fall about. Just a bunch of people that are going to come on and have a conversation and see where it goes. And it may go from one political thing to people's lives to you know, just that's where it is. Because honestly, I really think that's the best thing to do. People come on, get a chance to talk with friends, watch with friends, share it with friends, and just get it out of your head, get it out of all of our heads. Want to be a guest on the Tuesday broadcast? Message me on Facebook Messenger, and I'll confirm you. I think the max we can have is 10 people. We've done 6. I think one time we did 8. We can do 10. It's a little more live producing, so I may not be as actively talking on the broadcast. And I don't have to talk throughout the entire broadcast. Everybody gets a chance to talk, which is why this thing works. So I'm going to say goodnight. Hit this one. Gave you the disclaimer, and y'all have a great night. Make sure you are a member on Facebook in the Boogie with Bull True Patriot Talk public group, American Regulators private group, Conservative Freedom Defenders private group, Red Patriots for America private group, and the Hardwood Conservatives private group. Also join MAGA News Nation and some other MAGA groups that I'm in contact with, admins and others, about linking and getting the 2024 election MAGA community going, hopefully on Facebook again. A lot of groups are relaunching, so some very interesting things could be happening. William Grant is watching. Dana Campbell watched and came back and watched some more. Donna Hammer watched, and then I lost the live chat on the Facebook live chat monitor because I had to change off and do something. But come on into the live chat. What you may want to do is next time or before Tuesday's broadcast, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Put that into your browser. Scroll down about halfway, and you see a blue or a green bar that says "Give Facebook permission." Click on that. What it does is it gives StreamYard permission. What it does is it allows StreamYard to use your Facebook profile picture and your name in the live chat, and that way it comes up on the live producer screen rather than making sure I look at this monitor to make sure everybody on Facebook gets covered. You can also watch us on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, and subscribe to that channel. Get your friends to watch it and subscribe it. If you ever want to take a broadcast and share it off of Facebook, that's the best place to go and grab it and take it and put it. And other than that, I'm going to say